wearing a Danny Phantom t-shirt.
Awesome. That is awesome. What is going on, guys? We are live. Weekend Rewind 13. I haven't been on this show in almost a month. I feel kind of bad. I know.
I was wondering what was just a Paul branded t-shirt. No, that's a Danny Phantom.
Yeah, haven't been on in about a month. Wasn't on. We didn't have a show last week, and then the week before, Haven gladly stepped in and did a show. It was great. But yeah, we have a lot of ground to make up. But before we get into that, I want to introduce our panel today. I think everybody, with the exception of Haven, are making their debut. So let's go to the guy who's been here already before. We'll go to the big booty daddy, the villain, Haven Pendergast. Haven, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, brother? Happy to be here tonight on this happy Mother's Day. All the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. We love you all. Thank you.
Yes, happy Mother's Day. And all right, we'll go from left to right. Joining me today, he is a member of the Atomic Nation. You can find him on Take 3 Productions, WWMG. Then it's, of course, the Crusher, Malcolm Goldie Lay. Malcolm, how are you doing, man?
I'm pretty good. Just ready to talk out all the matches that have happened. So, yeah.
All right, and joining me as well today, he is also a member of Atomic Nation, and he's actually going to be taking on Malcolm and is making his Jukebox debut tomorrow. That is the very cool nickname, Minor Threat, Matthew Rosa. How are we doing, man?
We're doing good. It's a good Mother's going well, and I'm ready to talk about some Schmodown, talk about some JOAT. It's going to be fun.
All right, cool. And last but definitely not least, you would have seen him making his debut in the Dastardly Game of Faxes match as part of Team Apocalypse. He is Paul Oyama. Paul, how are we doing, man?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Probably more matches than we have time to talk about, but I'm excited to talk about a few of them. And yeah, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Yeah.
Yes, happy Mother's Day to all the cool people. Without you, we do. I got cooking lots of breakfast and dinners for people. It was a long, stressful day, but it was fun to cook for a lot of people, like mostly family. But yeah. So I've been a bad host. We have 10 matches to go through in Jack of All Trivia, and I have not watched all of them. I've skimmed all of them, but haven't watched all of them in detail. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go through the panel, and I'm just gonna ask what were some matches for them that stood out. We had quite a bit to talk about, 10 matches in total. So we'll go to Haven first. Haven, these last 2 weeks, what matches stood out for you? What were some great ones? Yeah.
Definitely one of the most highlighted for me was one of the highlights for me was the WTS championship match, between JTH, Jeremy Hastings versus the Smark, Harry Broadhurst. That was a really good match. I was alone in that one, so I didn't know how it was going to turn out, especially with the 5-round formats. But the questions, I thought the questions were fair and good, and I think they liked it, and I hope that people that watched it liked the match also. That was a highlight for sure. Watching Nicole versus Malcolm was another highlight because they were both going in that match 2-0, and then Paul making his debut, against 2 other competitors and KOing them both. That was a highlight. So those 3 stand out right now for me.
All right. Yeah, the GTH Harry Broadhurst match for the title, very, 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 very shocking. I was kind of surprised because that was Harry's to win. He was going in as the very dominant threat, but then JTH proving why he's a 2-time champion. But yeah, Malcolm, over to you. What stood out for you in matches this week?
For me, the Chance Luca music match just was so incredible, and seeing Luca pulling off that victory, it was just to crown the first jukebox champion. It was just an entertaining one to watch, and Matthew versus Dominic in movie trivia was really fun to watch. I thought Matthew was going to win all the way through that until Dominic got comic book movies in that last question, which turned the tie. But it's just a really fun match.
Yeah. All right. Matthew, what were some matches that stood out for you? I mean, obviously, unfortunately, you were on the shit end of one, getting an L.
Yeah.
But yeah.
My match was a lot of fun because I explicitly said, I was like, movie trivia is my weakest category here at Jack of All Trivia, and I hung in there and I looked like I was gonna win up until the last question, and he gets his strongest category. You know, there's only so much you can do in that situation, and I felt like that was a great match. But Luca taking on Chance, I cried during Luca's speech. Luca winning that title was the most deserved victory I have seen in a long time. It was amazing. Everybody felt good. The match was great. It's probably my favorite match, Schmodown or Jack of All Trivia, period. I think it's the best match I've seen so far.
Yeah, as the creator of the league, creating the thing in December and having somebody like Chance who competed in that very first match to be in that championship match, going up against Luca, who took the league by storm, and then that speech that confirms the feelings that I have was that I like this is the right thing to do to create this league, because you get passionate people like Luca, like Chance, like yourself, Matthew. Like, we have a lot of people debuting in the jukebox division, and it's going to be very exciting. And yeah, that championship match was one of the greatest, especially the host. Paul, over to you. You had a big old W in a triple threat match against Jay Burns and James Shimo. But yeah, anything else that stands out to you?
I mean, as much as I love talking about myself, my favorite matches in this past couple weeks did not involve myself. Starting off, Luca and Chance are like two of my favorite people in this space period. So just seeing them compete, and then just specific moments from different matches, like Chance pulling Conway Twitty was like absolutely insane.
Yeah, that was fucking.
That was crazy. I will say, like, one of the funniest moments for me, with no offense to Malcolm, but when Malcolm said Clark Gable for Dick Tracy, I like almost fell out of my chair. I thought that was hilarious. And there was a lot of matches throughout the week. My good friend Michael Campbell got the big W. My teammate over at Worldwide Movie Games, and that was something I was super proud of. Overall, there was a ton of matches that I was really excited about. Some of the actor-director parts in the movie league made me want to pull out my hair, admittedly, but overall, it was a great couple of weeks of matches.
Awesome. Yeah, it's good. It was great. But yeah, just to run over all the matches that have happened. We had Jeff defeating Subrath, Richard the Jobber, and Drew Captain for the Breaking Bad free-for-all. I thought that was a pretty good one. I kind of wish I competed, but I didn't, because I thought there was a lot more interest. But yeah, definitely an interesting match for sure. Of course, Dominic defeating Matthew. Jeff Pickering getting his big W against Sandy Cost to even up that series. That was a fun one. Jeff, he just wanted that rematch so much, and then he got it and pulled the W. And I think it was round. I remember hosting that match. Round 2 was the kind of the nail in the coffin. I'm trying to remember the actors that they pulled.
Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah, Keanu Reeves. Yeah, because I remember hosting and I was like, as long as they say hardball, I'm gonna be happy. I think that was the first Keanu Reeves movie that I ever watched. Then we had Paul winning triple threat, Nicole defeating Malcolm. A quick question in that one. I know originally Nicole was supposed to take on Jessica Morgan. That was supposed to be a thing, but then the schedule got changed to have a little more of a I guess a fairer match. I guess I'm not sure. But now that Nicole's 3-0, she's kind of in title-ish contention. If we could play pretend to be commissioner, who do we pick?
I heard
our next opponent.
Yeah, I'm going to step in real quick. And I know someone who I think would fit well, and I know someone that's eager to play Nicole, and that's my close friend Chance, the Titan Ellison. He expressed interest in playing Nicole. They have similar records. I believe he's 2-0 or maybe 3-1.
Chance is 3-0.
3-0. So I think the records match up perfectly. I think it's a great opportunity for Nicole to prove herself, and I want to see them play each other personally.
Yeah,
I was also going to suggest Chance. I think that's a great choice.
Malcolm?
Yeah, Chance would be a great choice, but I mean, saying that, I think Jessica could take go. The records don't match up, but I think Jessica could be a good challenge as well.
Yeah. Haven, anybody in particular that, like, in a dream scenario you would put up against?
Himself.
No.
No. You couldn't. You could never put up NWO people against NWO people. That just, you know, that defeats the purpose, because then somebody just gets a loss.
No. I mean, we'll eventually be playing each other if we have to.
There's too many of them.
But it also guarantees them a win. I think that's more important.
I mean, yeah.
There's literally
we got a win, but it was against their own faction.
People act like there's so many NWO members, and I keep telling people we have like 5 that actually play in movies, and we got the 3 other people that are just strictly for wrestling. So I don't know why people think we got like 20 members in our group. All right, I don't know who should. Chance will probably be good. All right, let me go back to the whole Jessica thing. When Jessica first joined us, glad that she's here. You know, she got her W. Nicole got a W, and then I think it was Nico was like, "Oh, they should play." But I want them both to like get more matches under their belt before they just play, because if they would have played if Nico wanted them to play like last month, you know, if they would have played last month, Nicole would have been 2-0, and Jessica would have been 1-1, and then it's like, okay, they had their match, and then they, you know, where they go from there. So it's like, you know, I was kind of like Jessica to like, you know, get a couple more wins and really have like this big meaningful bout like these two, you know, like they're gonna eventually. But
then what about Luca and Jen playing in their first match?
Yeah,
that seems.
Luca and Jen.
Yeah, Luca and Jen are arguably like 2 of the 5 best players in the league, and they played in their very first match. Like they didn't have wins under their belt and stuff.
Well, they were debuting here. That was the first time they debuted here. I mean, Jessica, not Jen. Yeah, Jessica already played 2 matches, but Jen and Luca, they made their debut here. So, I mean, I really don't give a shit what they did in other leagues, but here, you know, they made their debut. One's got a win, one doesn't. So they'll play again in it next month and, you know, build from there. You know, because I don't take into account what people have done anywhere else. You know, it's like, I don't really give a shit what they did anywhere else. You know, you come here and, you know, you're starting like anybody else. I don't play favoritisms. You know, I'm glad everybody plays here, but I'm not going to, you know, I'm not like going to stroke anybody's ego, you know, because they want to play a match here. So, you know, everybody's going to get a chance to play each other eventually. And Jessica and Nicole will battle. I wanted them both to like go on a tier and then meet up, make it like a big deal instead of just doing it like right after they both played one match each. Then it would be like, oh, they had their match now. Okay. Then, you know, it would have been over. Paulie.
I'm gonna throw a name out. I'm really surprised someone said it. It's Sean Sandberg, also 3-0. In terms of like promo and just like trash talking, I feel like they go well, because I feel like Nicole is like that person that might like kind of instigate the trash talking, like really embrace that heel, whereas Sean is great at absorbing the trash talk and just giving it right back. But I feel like that would be a great match to kind of like maybe even like build up to, like have let them do like these kind of like these rant videos to kind of deal where it'd be like very anticipated. But yeah. All right. So that covers Jack Wall trivia. We're now going to move on to the Schmodown aspect, and I am now actually, excuse me, going to send the link to the Hangouts. We're going to have a special guest hop on here momentarily.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Of course, we do have 2 weeks of Schmodown to cover. So let's start off with critically acclaimed taking on superhero news. Who wants to start the conversation on that?
Can I?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I have been endlessly hyped to see critically acclaimed do well when they first debuted. You know, everyone was labeling them as the champions fresh out the gate, and then they lose, and that was like heart-wrenching because I really like Whitney and I really like the Beast, and so getting to see them do what everyone thought they were going to do against superhero news, just destroy them in every aspect of the word, felt great because I really like critically acclaimed and I want to see them beat MODOK. I want to see them continue to do well because they're great. I really enjoy them. That's just me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll say something.
Sure,
anybody else? Yeah, I thought critically acclaimed is they, you know, when they formed together, everybody thought they were going to be the next big thing. Then they lost. So it was good to see them get a win, and a dominating win at that, So if they keep it going, man, I can see them holding the belts before the year's out.
I mean, yeah, to me, like, frankly, if you just listen to them talk about movies, they clearly know arguably the most about movies of anyone in the entire league. So I think like it was pretty obvious that I think their loss was, their loss was pretty fluky, to be honest. Like the type of questions that they got as opposed to like their opponents, and they lost by 1 point, which like, yeah, like that's just how things work in a showdown. But I think obvious that they're a team that can compete with like the top tier teams in the league, and I think that as long as like everything's like pretty balanced, I think things will eventually even out. And I think it was proved that like when they played Superhero News that they're just a cut above the echelon of teams that they were in with a 1-1 record. So all it really was, I think, is just reality setting in.
To kind of add to the comment that Paul had, if you have a chance, please go listen to Critically Acclaimed. It is that and the top 10 are the ones that I listen to almost religiously, and you feel smarter after listening to both of them. Really, the way they go into movies and just break down like how things work and how things don't work and how this bad movie and this great movie pair. But anyways, that's a whole other story. Yeah, Critically Acclaimed. I mean, this was a great match for them. Getting Tim Burton in round 2, they kind of had a walk in the park. And I think that's just because Tim Burton doesn't get spun a whole lot, so they have a lot more of a well to go into. Superhero News had Disney, but then they spun to Brad Pitt. And Brad Pitt's like. I find
those aren't
people,
too bad, though.
I find people know him or people know or people don't, and maybe that's just me because like I don't know a whole lot of like of his stuff pre-Fight Club. Like I didn't know who Meet Joe Black was, or I didn't know that movie like
oh really
before I joined the Community. Like I had no idea what the movie was.
I mean, yeah, I think that movie's most well known for having the trailer for Phantom Menace playing.
Phantom Menace trailer. Yeah, that's all that was.
Yeah,
and even
I think I agree that.
Yeah.
But I was saying like Brad Pitt is a category that I think people think they know. Like everyone's like, oh, I know Ocean's 11, I know Fight Club, like I know World War Z, but it's like his filmography goes a lot deeper than that. You have your 7 years in Tibet and like all this like like you said, it's pre-Fight Club stuff. So I think that with a lot of actors, people don't only take into account the famous roles, and obviously they're not going to ask a bunch of Fight Club questions for in like round 2.
Cool. Anything else to add on to Critically Acclaimed Superhero News? Where do you see Critically Acclaimed going next? And I mean, I think Superhero News obviously like they're going to be staying around in the league. I think they might even. I feel like Wildberries might actually be a good opponent for them going up next, which we'll get into a little bit later.
I mean, it's been confirmed on the movie trivia page that Critically Acclaimed's next opponent is MODOK. So there'll be a fun
which will be great. I'm a huge fan of MODOK.
Yeah, too.
A lot of costumes, a lot of entrances in that match.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel like MODOK's kind of taking a hit.
Yeah, I mean, since them losing the championship,
look at all the teams that lose.
Same trajectory as Team Trek.
Yeah, Team Trek. Lose to the Patriots.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think they're at like 2 or 3 losses in a row. So.
Yeah. Wow.
All right. So then we get into the Patreon match for this month. So if you are a Patreon member, you got to see it this week early before it got uploaded. That is, of course, Mighty Matt Nose taking on Kylo Ken Knapsack. Nose getting the W here, not by TKO, getting his 3-pointer, pulling out. I just watched this a couple hours ago. What he pulled out. Oh man, what was it? What question did he get right? And he tanked on it for like a solid minute.
Are you talking about the Disaster Artist one?
Yeah. Seth
Rogen.
Sandy, what's his name? Yeah, who played him? But yeah, two guys like I would have been curious to see this match pre-Knapsack heel turn, because I feel like they would have that would have kind of been a great kind of atmosphere and a great kind of tone to the match. But like Knapsack's he's obviously staying with that. Oh, the system is out to get me kind of deal. Like that's something that it kind of harps on. And then Nose just kind of being that cool, calm, collective. I don't really give a fuck, but I'm gonna kick ass anyways. kind of approach, which is refreshing because he's struggled in the singles league previously. Yeah. So thoughts on the no snapstock match, Battle of the KNs.
I mean, it was a great back and forth. Both of them did really well in round 2, especially Ken pulling out the 90s category, 90s, and then Nose had Natalie Portman, I believe, or Scarlett Johansson. But yeah, like I think Ken's 2-pointer was pretty tough, honestly. Like I know Constantine, but I know that like asking for a movie based like what the book it's based on, I think it's like a little hairy. So I think that was a little weird. But I mean, I was surprised Ken missed his 5. Since it was just name one of the rules, and I think like those rules are like I don't know, somewhat well known. At least I like to think.
No name
match. Yeah, I think that Ken is a lot better. I think than a lot of people realize. I think that he certainly was like the weak link on Nerds Watch, but he's still like a pretty good player in his own right, and he definitely has like strengths that other players just don't have. Like he knows like those like 90s like actresses and rom-coms and like stuff that you wouldn't really expect. So I wasn't too surprised by the outcome. Nos I think is also a really good player that is somewhat overlooked, but I mean, yeah, it was a very entertaining match and solid back and forth.
Yeah, I'm glad Nos got the win. He's my Facebook friend. Love you, brother.
Oh yeah, Again, check him out on Top 10 Show. They had a great episode with the Patriots. Just it felt like it was literally taken out of like a backstage like Schmodown that kind
Don't
of
show
deal.
it to your kids though. Don't show it to your kids. It's,
no,
not safe for work content there.
No, there is.
I gotta. I was just gonna say I agree with Paul. That question, the John Constantine question, that was kind of off because that's more like a more behind. I don't even know how you categorize that question, but it wasn't like a straight movie one.
It's not movie trivia. It's comic book trivia. Yeah, that's how I felt.
Yeah, it would have been like if it was like a comic book league or like a deep IG cut, like how Caleb writes those questions. But I was surprised that they asked that one because I don't think anybody, unless you really love comics.
Like if it was like a 5, then that's fine.
Yeah,
but like as
it should have been a 5-pointer.
Yeah, and that's gonna happen too. Like you're gonna get those mix-ups. Like we've seen. Like there's been a lot of times where we've seen 5-pointers that are ungodly easy and like 2-pointers that are ridiculously tough.
Literally every 5-pointer by Jeff Snyder. Literally every single one.
Yeah, I have actually. That's actually a great segue. Let's talk about the Snyder Roca match. What a match! What a match! I know people give a lot of shit on Snyder for like being a complainer. I actually think what he does is good for the league because it's that you almost need somebody like that just to kind of keep yourself in check. Where it's just kind of like if you like, he'll be the first one to kind of point out a problem, and it's just something to kind of like constantly not adapt, but like just like. Okay, we have to keep in mind of this thing here, so that it's a good balance. And then when you get that good balance, you get these great matches that we do get. But yeah, Roca doing the whole blindfolding thing. I don't know why he does it, even though he has to write down on that whiteboard.
I mean, I think it helps zone in. I think that it blocks out all the background noise, and I think it helps him focus.
Yeah,
and I mean, he still wrote legibly, so
exactly.
Yeah, he lifts it up to write. It's not like he just like has the whole thing. Like he lifts up the blindfold to write on the whiteboard. So.
And then of course getting biopics in round 2. He did not miss one, so I believe he still has that streak of 44 questions in a row that he's yet to miss.
No, he's missed a biopic.
He has missed a biopic question.
Multiple choice.
I don't think.
Yeah,
he's definitely got multiple choice.
Oh yeah, he's definitely got multiple choice.
I don't think he's ever missed one.
But I don't think he's yet to miss one. Our guest, who's talking on later, I think would probably know as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
Can I say something about Jeff Snyder?
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
So I'm a huge Snyder. Yeah. I'm sorry, Snyder. Ian Snyder.
Yeah, and this is why you and I are best friends.
Geppetto. Anyway, I'm a huge fan of the Patriots, and I've always called Snyder kind of the beta tester of the Schmodown. Whenever he sees a problem, he uses that challenge rule to his advantage constantly. If he sees something he thinks is fishy, he's gonna challenge, And it's this great idea because the fact of the matter is people are like, oh, I'm going to save my challenge. There's no point in saving your challenge. Whenever people say that, they end up never using it. So just use it. It's
Like
worth taking a
MODOK
shot
in the
and
championship.
figure it out.
Do not save your challenge, please, God.
Never save it.
Army of Darkness. Army of Darkness still gives me nightmares. Oh man.
Do you think he had a reason to kind of tiff about how John for the 3-pointer, John got named the lead actor in Starship Troopers, whereas
no, because sorry, I'm gonna cut you off there a little bit, but because his 5-pointer gave him the year, the director, the genre, and 2 of the lead actors for like a recent movie, whereas Roca had to name like a very specific plot point from a different movie. So I think that if you're gonna complain about his 3, then you also have to acknowledge like your 5-pointers, which like if you look at young adult, if you look at I forget, there's a couple other ones like. His 5-pointers teams and in singles are consistently way easier than his own, and he's given more information. So I think that it's funny that he's talking about his 3, which yes was very hard and maybe too hard for a 3-pointer, but then when his 5 was like ridiculously easy, at least like, from the information given, at least.
Yeah, I kind of disagree. I disagree that there was an imbalance in the 3-point questions. I feel like with that quote, the dingo, like the Dingo Sky My Baby or whatever it is, it's like it has a significance in pop culture. Like when I heard the quote, I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard that before. Not necessarily in that movie, but like I think I've heard it like a Family Guy episode or maybe like a Simpsons episode or something like that. I couldn't tell you the movie. Yeah. But yeah. Also a tease about the 4 Horsemen possibly coming back together.
Too many teasers. Just reveal them, please.
Yeah. Who do you think? Like, if you had to throw out names, who do you think? Who do you think joins them?
Kalinowski.
I hope Ethan, but honestly, I'm not totally sure where that's going. But I think that he would like fit. Like he's not too dominant of a persona like to join the faction because I don't think he would like butt heads with Roca necessarily. So I think that he would be a good fit, especially as like an elite level singles player, as we'll get to later on. But I think that he'd be a fit.
He needs a mouthpiece. He is very similar to where Drew McLeany was when he debuted, and a talent like a tank of knowledge, but just doesn't have that persona. But I'll get into that later. In terms of 4 Horsemen, I think I'd like to see Jason Edmond, just because like you kind of hinted at it whenever he was like, if I lose to Roca, I'll stand by him. Throughout the showdown or throughout the Ultimate Showdown, maybe even Scott Mance.
I was gonna say, then what do you do with Mance?
I don't think so. I don't think Mance is strong enough. If you want to like solidify your faction, Mance is just on such like a downward slope.
What do you add?
And teams.
But do you add Mance in as like a better Dagnino in terms of like just being a shit disturber?
I just think that'd be
if he.
Awkward. I feel like
because I was talking to somebody the other day about it, and like what they think and what I kind of agree with is that Mance is kind of done with the league. Maybe he's just kind of lost an interest. So it might be that refreshing kind of thing where it's like, hey, you're gonna be a faction member, much like Johnny Laquazo or what's from the league. Yeah, LaQuaza, where he's just more so a mouthpiece to cut these great promos, which I think would be great. It gives a chance for Roca to dial in that to kind of hold back that emotion and use it towards the matches themselves. But Malcolm, we haven't heard from you in a while. You haven't not talked enough.
I mean, like all my thoughts for these matches are on the last Reactor Summit, so you can. But I mean, as for 4 Horsemen, I don't think it's a case that Mance has lost interest in the league. I think it's just more the scheduling hasn't worked out for him because I'm pretty sure early on in the year, I think Christian has announced that there will be a Mance Molten match at some stage that is confirmed or was scheduled in. So whether or not that's going to happen or not is yet to be seen. But I think Mance and Inn will be a good fit for the 4 Horsemen anyway. So
yeah. Haven.
Yeah.
I think
I know.
Yeah, I don't
Sorry,
know. Oh, just one thing. Like, I think the problem that is like he's unemployed and he's like not really doing much. So I think that the scheduling thing is like kind of a weird point to make on that front.
Is he
and yeah, I
not
just
with
don't think
that?
he
Is he
fits
not
well
with
with the whole.
them?
No,
Is he
he.
back to Charlotte?
I don't think so.
I mean, I didn't know if he was unemployed or not because I know he
Yeah.
said it, but whether or not he
Yeah,
actually
because
is,
he recently retired, I think, from Entertainment Tonight.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So and then also I just think that Roka is not the type of person who would ever let someone speak for him. Like he's just too dominant of a personality, and I don't think he would be down for that.
Yeah.
No
sorry,
one
go
said
ahead.
Kalinowski yet.
To jump in.
I'm still wondering why has no one brought up Kalinowski yet as a possible
he's-
4 horseman?
Well, maybe Haven is going to bring up Kalinowski.
I don't know. I think they definitely need a IG player, for the 4 horsemen. I'm not sure who because we have so many new people debuting in IG. I mean, Ethan is I don't know if did he play in IG? I think that
No, he said he would be willing to though.
that the guy that damn it, I forget his name. He was in one of the 5 way matches. Yes, I think the guy that came in the second place. The guy that came in second.
Adam Hlavik.
That'd be cool.
One of those guys. If they
No,
joined,
Jared
they
Avon.
both seem like good faces. I think that one of those guys would be great for the Horsemen. I would say Scott Mance would have been cool because he's always loudmouth and he could, he disturbs the players that he plays against, with his antics. But I don't know if he would, because if he joins, then Edmund will probably have to join because they're a tag team. So I don't know because I think if they both joined, I don't think that's going to really propel the 4 horsemen to where they should be, because
the thing is on Summit that it doesn't have to be 4, that it might not be 4. So I think that's what I'm going to look out for.
I think it's just going to be called the Horseman now.
Oh, cool.
But he's been saying not 2 but
4,
4, not 2 but 4. He keeps saying that.
Oh, true.
No, but he also said it doesn't have to be
symbol.
4. And I think it doesn't have to be horsemen. Just keep that in mind because I don't think they would be necessarily closed off to a woman.
No, yeah.
So then what? So then what women? I would love to see I would love to see Perry come back into the showdown in some way.
She's too weak.
Maybe.
I think it solves the problem of the just Emma Fife. I mean,
She calls it the S word though. I don't think she wants to come back.
She's
what?
She's
The
kind
S
of.
word?
I mean, she's
Yeah,
weak.
Perry
She
calls
calls it
Schmodown
Schmodown.
the S word.
Yeah, she's like afraid of it.
Oh, really?
Like it.
Hey.
Yeah, she doesn't like it.
Wow. All right. But yeah.
I think Brienne might be a good woman fit for the 4 horsemen.
I think that'd be
If she's willing to come back.
though, personality-wise. Like I don't know, and then the whole
Yeah.
maybe the
It
whole
also
mic
depends-
thing. I don't know.
It also depends too on like where she is like face heel wise, because I feel like with the promos that we kind of get, actually it kind of leads into the next match we talk about. In the Wildberries defeating the Kingsmen. In that opening promo that we got of the Kingsmen coming in and being like, hey, can we get that title match? And Brienne's like, nope, not at all. I'm not sure where she lies in the face heel department. Maybe she's a tweener. And I feel like with the 4 horsemen, I don't know if they're going for the tweener thing. I feel like now that they're a face league, they're a face faction. With some heelish flares.
I was gonna say, are they?
Yeah. I mean, the Fight Club is definitely like the super face. Like we're here for the good guys. We're gonna take on.
It's like they're
all
taking the
things
old Wolves of Steel label. The old Wolves of Steel label. Though we're so nice and we're
Yeah.
rough.
Anyways, speaking of nice and speaking of just crazy antics, let's talk about Wildberries and Kingsmen. Starting off with a
Nice.
with a little bit of a fuck you, not fuck you moment where Mr. Dewberry hit the old beer bong, and then what's his name for the Kingsmen? He's like, nah, fuck you. Yeah, Jack from the Kingsmen is like, nah, fuck you. I'm also gonna take a hit from the beer bong. But yeah. So my question to you guys. Are you a beer bong person, or are you more of a shotgunner? Do you do wizards? Maybe like what kind of drinking antics do you get into? And your thoughts on the match. Wildberries are now going to 2-2. Kingsmen are now unfortunately 1-2. Yeah.
I will say, I will say, personally, as someone who turns 21 in 2 months, I can neither confirm nor deny prior use of such devices as a bong. I'm not gonna say whether it's not. All I'll say is that I'm in a fraternity at a Big Ten American university, so I'll just leave it at that. So yeah, I'll pass that on to the next person who's of age, so either Haven or Malcolm.
Go ahead, Malcolm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big beer bong person either. I don't think I've done a lot of drinking antics that I can remember anyway. But I mean, the match was fun. I mean, it was entertaining. It was what I expected from Wildberries, and for them to be now on a winning streak, I don't know where they go from here. It's really interesting.
Winning streak.
Yeah, I don't do too many fancy drinking games. I guess because I'm older. I mean, I did someone in my 20s, but now
he just pounds it back.
I just put it in my mouth and drink it. Nothing fancy. The match itself was crazy as hell. What do you expect when you have the Wild Man Makuga and his partner Ricky? Just wait, not Ricky.
Elliot.
Elliot.
Ricky's
Drew
gone.
Elliott. Yeah, Drew Elliott, which he's another crazy son of a bitch himself. So those two guys, if they're going to be in a match, it's going to be a hot mess in a good way. I mean, they all do it for fun, but those guys, they know their characters well, and fuck, they put on a crazy show. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Makuga legit pissed off in round one. What are your guys' thoughts on the Billy Madison dilemma?
I mean,
oof, everyone wants to talk.
I'll be back, guys. I'm gonna walk my animals.
All right, cool.
Let Malcolm go first. He's talked the least.
Yeah, well, I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, so my thought about that Billy Madison question was, I think it's one of those ones in which, yes, I get that I'm on Makuga's side for the challenge, and that that he probably should have written the full answer just to be sure. But I also understand. With Alice's reasons for giving them the point, which is it was pretty much a 50-50 question as it was. But I mean, it's going to start a precedence for whenever there's another 50-50 question like that, then a lot of people go to think they can get away with just putting as minimal writing down as possible, which could start a big problem going forward.
I mean, I think the big thing in this case is that Devon clearly just didn't have anything written down until 2 seconds left and then tried to write Billy Madison. I don't think it's an issue of he just didn't think he had to put it. I think he was just scrambling, and I don't think he even really knew. He just kind of guessed at the last second. So I think that he should have used a repeat so he could have written the whole thing down. I think the challenge was super legit by Makuga. I did find it absolutely hilarious when they were mocking him throughout the entirety of the first round, though, with how salty he got when they're covering his answer. The one time where Devon's like, that absolutely cracked me up so much. That was hilarious.
I feel like if the question had said A, Billy Madison, or B, Happy Gilmore, and he had just put Billy, I would have been more okay with it, because then you could have put A or B, and that would have been right. But the thing was, it was Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore. And it was Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore. You had two options, and Billy was not one of those two options.
Also, I have a solution for this. Just don't put 50-50 questions in round one. I don't understand the point of questions like that, where you're already diluting the answer down so much, and it's you're literally just making people guess for the most part. So I think maybe just avoiding those questions.
I think they put it in for that reason, because it was Wildberries Kingsman match where they wanted to tend a little bit lighter for the round one questions.
Yeah.
Also, you hardly ever see ones where you have multiple choice ones. The last one that I could think of off memory was McWeeny Bibiani, when they had above
the line in their MODOK match was which order did Incredible Hulk, Dark Knight, and Iron Man come out?
Yeah, but I liked that question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind if they have 50-50 questions in the first round, but I think Christian said this a few times, that the first round is generally supposed to be just start them off and easier, and leading into the next rounds, which generally it can be quite harder at times as well. So
I will say it's interesting. I don't know if you noticed this, but in Makuga's matches, they tend to ask a lot of questions about like movies that he really likes and like specific actors. And I don't know. I'm not saying necessarily that that's like planned, but it's interesting that he always gets like a Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, or Shawshank, or just
some sort of like sports comedy kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
But
and
still
it's, like,
no
always
Bad Boys too.
Right up his alley. And I think that's just something interesting that I noticed about his matches in this Showdown. Like they don't tend to ask like screenwriter questions in his matches and like stuff.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. Well, I felt that way about a couple of Rachel Tiffany matches.
Continues, so.
Yeah, they might play to people's strengths. You know, they might just to make the matches more even. They might just play to people's strengths. You know, throw a question in here and there for a guy if they know what they like.
I kind of felt that way during Clark versus Kalinowski. I mean, Clark earned it, but there was a couple questions where I was like, that kind of seemed to lean in Clark's favor. But it may be random.
I think it's also.
I thought it was pretty even because there was also a couple action questions that are definitely like Kalinowski heavy. Like
So here's my take on the whole thing. As a content creator and as somebody who writes questions and formulates matches, and especially with the championship match, you formulate questions to keep your matches close. So like when I was writing questions for Luca versus Chance, I wrote questions that were in Luca's favor. I wrote questions that were also in Chance's favor. You need to keep that balance where you have to keep matches that are entertaining. Whereas if you had questions that are just more so like, we're going to prove who is the greatest, who has like the best movie mind, where yes, it is entertaining for like the hardcore fans, but like when you're trying to draw in casual fans, it's just like, like, oh, these guys are like their accuracy rates aren't that great.
Yeah.
So I completely understand like what they're doing, where they're trying to keep the matches entertaining, where they might have questions that sway towards Clark or sway towards Kalinowski, sway towards any team. But especially with Makuga, because I just think the route that they're going, like where he doesn't want to be in title contentions at all. He's just there to.
If he wanted to be, no offense, I don't think he could be if he wanted to be. So.
I mean, he was.
But he knows that
he was close. He was close in the singles run last year. He had an unprecedented level.
Pretty good in singles.
Also, to answer the question that I asked previously, I am a shotgun person. I actually used to start all of my drinking sessions by shotgunning a beer.
Oh boy,
I cannot do that anymore, as I am now an old married man. Got to be a little more responsible. I also want to.
Old.
I mean, I'll be 25 in September, so.
Wow!
I'm almost a quarter of a century. I also want to.
Then again, Matt's still in high school. Matt's still in high school, so maybe he does feel a little old.
Matt's still in high school.
True. I'm still in high school.
I think, right?
Yeah.
No way, you're still in high school.
I'm still in high school.
You're like what, 17?
Yeah. Well, almost 17. I'm 16.
Holy shit!
Man.
Does that make you feel a little worse about your trivia knowledge?
You could be my son, man.
Yikes. I also
really old.
Let's not start a Roca guy thing over here, please.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I gotta make sure when you play, I have to make sure I'm not drinking or smoking my cigarettes and
I don't care
with
man.
you around. Can't have that if you're that young. Holy shit.
That probably isn't a good idea for trivia anyway, but
That's fair.
besides the point.
Well, tell that to the Wildberries.
Yeah.
And exactly. See what happens when they play. Yeah.
Speaking of beer, I do want to shout out to and I know this affects nobody whatsoever, but if you are ever in PEI, check out Copper Bottom Brewing. I'm drinking an excellent red ale, bold, crisp caramel and carbonic. Has a very nice kind of rich taste to it, with some bitter afternotes. It goes well with a great hamburger. Got to have this on tap at the brewery. Like the brewery is literally just a half an hour away. Yeah, enough about beer.
If you're ever in Hawaii, check out our great spring water. That's all I'll say.
Great. I can't see the label. Can you really show it really well?
Yeah. So Copper Bottom Brewing. Here is
cool.
the actual logo. Yeah, they're literally just like a 20-minute drive away. It's actually really crazy for a population of like 170,000 or so. We have 5 breweries on PEI, which is absurd. Like we have there's PEI Brewing Company, Upstreet, Moth Lane, Bar None, and then Copper Bottom, which just opened up like a couple months ago.
And that folks has been the Brew
giving
Wine.
people jobs.
The Brew Wine here on Jack of all Trivia.
Yeah.
Welcome
Welcome to the on tap section of the Rewind. We talk about beers, wines, and all things spirits. One thing I forgot to mention really quick, like in the Snyder Roca match, and it just kind of popped up in my head while we were talking about Wildberries Kingsman, was Bibiani coming back from the future.
Yeah.
Like, hey man,
with the Four Horsemen shirt. The Four Horsemen shirt.
That was a really cool idea. And like when it came up, I was like, what the fuck's going on?
Before the Horsemen reunited. That was what got me.
I did not know that I wanted this match, but once it got confirmed, that match is gonna be great. I think it's gonna be awesome. You guys' thoughts on the upcoming Bibiani Snyder match?
Oh, they're both great competitors. Like Snyder's no slouch. Like he gets a lot of shit because they're heels, but he plays that role well. But that dude's no slouch, and him against Bibiani, that's gonna be a fucking good match.
Yeah,
I think it was super smart by Bibbs because I think that Snyder of all the top competitors is the one I think that Bibbs matches up the best against. Because if you look at Snyder's strengths, like horror, directors, and Oscars, they're all stuff that Bibiani knows like very well. I personally would favor Bibiani by a couple of points in that match. Just because I know sometimes Snyder in round one can somewhat he can range from like in that 4 to 7 range, I think. And I think Bibiani is more consistently good. So I think him getting the lead early can help him dictate the rest of the match. And I would personally favor Bibiani over Snyder.
Yeah.
But how's McWeeny gonna react? Is my question. I'm looking to see that story furthered because he was promised the winner. And now he can't have the winner because Bibiani cashed in.
Well, he has another matchup coming up that we'll get to in a bit, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which,
we're going to have to talk about Erwin Lawn first.
Yeah, we have to talk about Erwin Lawn. Like to sum up my thoughts on this match, I don't. It's weird because I saw this match and I'm like yeah, it's great. Like Ethan Irwin broke the singles point scoring record. I just didn't find it super entertaining. Like Lawn was awesome as a heel. I love that character that he has, and I hope that he stays for as long as he can. I just don't know what it was, and I feel awful. I should have enjoyed that match a lot more, and I was just kind of like, I don't know, it's just weird. Does anybody else have the same kind of feeling, or people were you guys also like, oh, match of the year, like singles match?
No, for me, this is my favorite non-singles match, favorite singles non-title match outside of Harlock Roca. I thought the back and forth was crazy. The tension was going like absolutely bonkers. They only missed like a combined like 4 or 5 questions. Like this is a great match for me. I personally enjoyed it a lot. And I keep saying this, but I feel very proud that I stumped both competitors because the player question was one that I sent in.
Oh, maybe nice. You had one too many beers, Brooklyn, because that match was amazing.
This is I just started. This is my first tall boy.
I loved that match. I really want to see Lon build a faction of the School of the Elite. I want him to beat people and then kind of absorb them into his faction. I thought that was really cool, him coming out with Cody Hall. I think that's a really clever idea. I think maybe give him more, those lower tier competitors because I don't know if he's contending for a title anytime soon.
Really?
But I don't know. I think he's great. I just don't know if there's room in the stories. And the Schmodown, as much as he's a great trivia competitor, it's all about the stories at the end of the day. It's what gets booked and what doesn't get booked.
I don't think it's necessarily all about the stories, and I think that Milan is very clearly like one of the best players in singles. Ethan is the best start of any singles player in his first 2 matches in Schmodown history from an accuracy standpoint. So I think that him losing to Ethan is definitely not anything.
Like Christian said, it was a win for him too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I personally think that Lon could be in a contender match within the next year. Personally. I'm so glad he didn't play Copser. That would have been an awful match. I'm not trying to see like someone just like destroy another player or play like a player not on the same tier as them.
Did he destroy Cody Hall though?
Well, he played terribly, and those questions were very oddly suited for Cody's knowledge and taste. But I mean, I just think Lon should be playing better players, and I think that I just hope he keeps playing good people. Like I wish he would be the one playing Stacy, but that's a whole other story.
I mean, to go back to the Lon Cody match for a second, I think they made them slightly easier because it's Cody's sort of turning back into it in this new format. So I think, because I've noticed this a lot in a lot of the anyone debuting, the questions seem to be slightly easier for debuting players as opposed to like people who've been at it for a lot longer. I think that could be the case as well. But with the Lon Ethan match, I enjoyed it. It was fun. Like, they both got the same amount of questions right at the end of the day. I mean, the only reason Ethan sort of came out on top was he had the higher point of the questions that he got right. So. But I mean, Brienne at the start, telling Fair that all those bribes to get the Commissioner Patreon thing was brilliant.
First woman to hold the Schmodown belt. Brienne.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know, Lon. I've never seen him anywhere else. The Lon Harris guy.
He's on
Great fact checker on movie fights.
Oh, okay. Because I'm not familiar with him. So when he made his debut, a lot of people were hyping this guy up. And I mean, the Cody match, like Cody answered so many of those questions. He only lost by like 2 points. So I mean, if he wanted to do that shtick where he was just playing the lowest tier guys and beating the shit out of them, and then he could brag about like having a record of like 6-0, like just beating the RB3s, the Cobsters, and beating those type of guys, I think that would have been fun. But now that he already got one loss, like when would he actually play again? Because there's so many new competitors. So I guess we just got to wait and see when his next match is and who's this against, and if he could hang out with the big dogs, or maybe he's just like a mid card guy.
Lon just defeats the entirety of the Wangers and then just calls himself the Wang Crusher.
And plays the real rejects and then
the real reject.
Yeah.
Well, then John Humphrey pulls out a win. Magic.
I can see him playing like Dale the Dude, like all the little guys.
I
can see him being Dale the Dude and all the other like just lower
Dale the Dude
guys. That would be fun.
I'm gonna leave that alone.
I mean, I think the Lon stick, I don't think it was more of a case of just picking on people like Cody Hall, Cobster, and all that because he sees them weak. I think he legitimately wants to bring out the best in them, and I think maybe Cody wanted to come back, which is why he agreed to that match, like behind the scenes in the first place. And they made all the backstage stuff just to thing. I think Cobster, I don't think he wants to play a match again, which is why they had this match instead. So,
true.
Yeah. All right. So we were
talking about the end of that match, the McWeenie.
Oh yeah. You guys want to go on with that?
What I think they clearly filmed some of this stuff out of order because I think we were supposed to be surprised when it was announced that Ethan and McWeenie were playing, even though they sort of announced that in one of the matches before. Personally, it's one of my most anticipated matches. I think when you're just looking at raw knowledge, this is one of the best matchups that we've seen in a long time. And like if it was just like an Iron Man style round one format, I think that would be incredibly entertaining between Ethan and Drew. But I'm super excited for the match. It's kind of crazy that whoever wins is still not going to be like the number one contender. They'd still have to play another match to get a title shot. That's kind of crazy to me. So I don't know if they're going to play that first and then have one of them try to make the Snyder Bibbs thing a three-way or how that's going to be approached necessarily. But I'm just super excited for McWeenie to play Ethan.
Yeah. Do you give potentially? Oh, sorry. Do you give potentially like the loser of Snyder Bibbs? Like, do you like say Bibbs loses and McWeenie wins? Do we get a McWeenie Bibbs 2 right out of the gate for maybe like?
Well, no, I don't think because the way that Bibbs got there is with the free-for-all contender shot, so I don't think that would necessarily work because his record is not something I think that's contender level. If it was just straight up basing on that, so I think that the conditions of the match sort of make it weird. But if Snyder loses, I could see them having Snyder play the winner of Ethan and McWeenie. Or potentially Roca could play the winner of Ethan McWeenie. I don't really know exactly how they want to navigate singles. Rachel still has to be integrated back into the singles pecking order after losing the title up against Sam. So I think there's a lot of moving parts in the singles league right now. And there's another contender that probably should play the winner of that, but she's playing like the number 10 contender who has a 500 record. So I don't know exactly what they're planning to do with that stuff.
Yeah, it is hard when you actually do this stuff. Like me and Brooklyn, we know, trying to make storylines and just because you could tell that they taped this stuff out of order. Because they got to just some of these matches probably were taped like months ago, maybe because of the availability to the people. All those people in Hollywood are always so busy. So yeah, man, trying to book matches and trying to figure out who should play who is it takes a lot of hours and a lot of headaches.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I kind of like for me scheduling is kind of easy. I just look at records and I'm kind of like I just look at like I look at kind of like past experience and I was like Malcolm was 0-2 in jukebox, but they weren't blowouts. Like he held his own, and it's like Matthew's making his debut. He's shown that he's shown that he's own music. Both these guys show that they know music. Like Malcolm was on the Beatles top 10. His list might not have been the most popular, but it was a list. But yeah. So
it definitely went from 10 to 1.
Yeah. Alrighty. So let's start talking about Title Week. But actually, before we start talking about Title Week, I'll ask the cool kids in the chat if you have any questions, anything you want us to talk about, anything. What's the meaning of life? Why is this guy blue?
There's one that Michael just asked now. Who do you guys want to see Lon play next?
I want to see Lon face Kalinowski. I think that would be an interesting one.
That would be a good one.
I'd feel bad for Kalinowski. I don't think he can win that match.
Elaborate. I'm curious.
You don't think so?
I like Kalinowski, but I feel like he got I feel like he's getting kind of shaken up. He showed sparks again in the Clark Wolf match, but in that interview, he just looked broken. Like, I like Kalinowski a lot, but he just looked so defeated after that match because he was so popular when he started. And then to hear, the people cheer over him above Clark, I don't think that was all story. I think that legitimately hurt his feelings. Like, his heart was hurt because he just kind of looked kind of broken. And so if he takes such a big fall and is playing Lon, who just lost to Ethan Irwin, I feel like that's going to be kind of heartbreaking for him. And I don't want to see Kalinowski leave the league, 3 losses in a row is usually a pretty good way to make an exit. And I don't want him to exit.
Yeah, I guess so. Like Mark Ellis had 3 losses in a row.
JTE lost 4 or 5 in a row at one point.
Yeah, but JTE is always going to be around because he was tag champ at the time.
Yeah.
I would like to see Lon play Sean from Superhero News, because they both started off in the free-for-all, and I think they both stayed very long in the free-for-all too. So I think they both could match up really well on paper.
I think for me, I would love to see Lon play Ben Bateman. I think that Ben is a pretty solid player with 1 and 2 with a somewhat unfair record with the whole the 5-way counting as a loss, with him coming in second. But I think that's a matchup that could work really well. Ben's kind of sort of on the upswing ish, and then Lon is sort of coming down. So I think and they're both coming off a loss. So I think that could be a matchup that could work. I know record wise, 2-1 and 1 and 2 don't exactly align, but then again, all of the players that are in Lon's range, I think already have matches scheduled for the most part. So
I think that I mean, with the Schmodown, sometimes records don't matter. I think some people are hung up on that because it's like Christian wrote for WWE, so that's where you get some of the ideas. And if you were going by that, you would never have some matches on WWE if you only have certain people play, record wise. That's why, I think Lon should play Stacey Howard. I mean, I don't know what she's doing right now, but she beat Mark Ellis.
She's facing Makuga next, which
she's facing Makuga.
Oh,
Brooklyn, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. I don't understand. Stacey was coming up. Stacey's coming off a W against
RB3, which that match also didn't make any sense. But
no. And then Makuga is coming off of a loss, I think, in singles.
No, he won. He beat Scarpino.
Oh,
and then before that, he got
beat Scarpino. I mean, is that a victory?
Whoa, Scarpino's got a better answer percentage than players with multiple wins, so let's maybe cool it a little bit. He was 1 question away from beating Bernardin and Rachel, but
the producer seducer.
I don't know.
That's what,
Take it easy on Nick. Jesus Christ.
I was gonna pick him, but I didn't know what his record was and if he was coming back.
He's 0-3.
Also, his availability is spotty because he's up in
San Francisco. They live in San Francisco. Yeah. But I just think that the Stacey Makuga thing, I just have huge problems. Like at 2-1, Stacey played a player that was 0-1. That was like clearly not like it wasn't like it was like a close loss to a very good player. And then now she's 3-1. I think she should be getting like a near contender shot soon. Like if she wins her next match, she's 4-1. And the fact that she's playing like Makuga, who I think is very clearly like at best a mid-level player, is really problematic.
I mean, in saying that, I'm just thinking because when they when Christian did the poll for the for who should Clark pick for the top 10, I'm pretty sure both Stacey and Makuga were in there, so they're both considered in the top 10 contenders.
Well,
so,
Stacey's listed as number 6 right now, and Makuga's number 10 on the stand, like the official.
So, I mean, it's one of those ones which is a close kind of proximity. I mean, if Stacey was like number 2 and Makuga 10, then I'd probably be on your side. But it's like it's not that much of a difference when it's 6 and 10. So,
and that's always going to be that's always going to be the case. You know, the longer these leagues go, the more people that like the people that are always going to be playing are the people that are always going to be available. You know, like Makuga is always going to be around to play if they need him. You know, just like JTE. So you know, some people are going to have records, you know, that are just going to be a lot more, you know, more wins and losses than some other people, and you know. It's always going to be like that, you know. I mean, I really don't have a problem with it. You know, they could put whoever the hell they want. You know, I mean, if Lon played Christian next, I'll watch the match. I wouldn't give a shit. You know what their records are. It's a match. You know. Actually,
speaking of Christian, I think the next person for him, I think the feud that they've been kind of baiting at for a while, and like eventually it has to pay off because Nose has been always after Christian, like.
Yeah, that match has to happen.
I don't know how soon Christian is going to come back to competing. To be honest.
Yeah.
2,500 patrons.
Well, that's like a one-off match though. Like I don't think he's going to regularly play for a while. I don't think he wants to.
No. And getting back to the Stacey Howard thing, you know who would actually be a really good opponent for her? Someone who was also coming off of a W recently, the Android, Merca Draco.
Exactly. That would be a great. See, that's like something where like she could prove herself. I just don't know what beating Makuga does for her, really.
Yeah, it just gives her another win.
It adds an extra number to her win column.
Exactly. It's just like an empty. It's like empty calories. I feel like though.
I mean, Makuga is a good player. I mean, he may have a lot of the
he's
time.
In like the 50s in accuracy.
When the stars align, he's good.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's had 7 wins and he's had 7 losses. So, I mean, he's pretty even. I mean, like, yes, a lot of his wins has been probably because of luck, but I mean, it's not that he's completely throwing out bad answers all the time. So, I mean, it's one of those ones like when it comes to a matter of opinion, like the level of players, it's always going to differ depending on who you're talking to. So,
all right, so let's move on to like just thoughts about Title Week. Again, guys, if you have any questions at all in the chat, just throw them in there, and we'll get to them. So, above the line versus the Patriots 2. Who do you got? Who do you got, and why? Avon, I'm gonna go to you first.
I'm gonna go to above the line. I think now they're more prepared for the 5-round format. I think that's why MODOK lost when they played the Patriots because you know the guy was trying to be in character during the speed round. And he was talking instead of just answering the question. And I don't know if I think I've voiced this opinion before, but I think if a person is going to play a title match, they should watch a title match maybe the day before or that day to see the 5-round format so they can know what the hell is going on when they get into that match. Because I think the Patriots
Sam has been around for title matches before, like in studio. So I think that like they were aware. I just don't know if they're like used to the buzzers. Although they dominated the speed round. So, like,
that's what I'm saying. You know, if they watch the match, they have a fresh in their mind of how the formats are going for each round, and they could go there prepared, you know, and have a strategy. And I think above the line takes it. Patriots been very lucky. You know, they haven't had too many dominant wins. You know, but I think it's just the 5-round format. You know, kind of mixes up some tag teams that are only used to the 3 rounds.
Yeah, Malcolm, who you got?
I've got above the line for this one because like both of them are familiar now, and also if the Patriots lose, Chris Clark's going to go into the Movie Trivia Schmodown page and live stream himself eating mayo sandwiches.
I think there's a way to get around that. Matthew,
Matt looks eager to say something.
Who do you got?
You know, I love Above the Line. I love Sam Levine. I love Drew McQueenie, but I'm taking the Patriots. I have seen this story 1,000 times. Everyone says, you know, they saw the title format. Now they got this. Top 10. I heard that exact same argument for top 10, that they had seen the format.
I didn't hear anyone saying that for top 10. I just thought people thought they're going to win.
No, I saw a couple people saying that it, like, they had a better understanding of the format and that they were going to beat the Patriots in that third one. And, you know, you could always debate the call.
I mean, they were already the champs, though. Like, I don't think the format was at all a question. Like, top 10 had been champs before the Patriots.
Yeah.
So, like,
no, I agree with you. I'm just saying what I've seen in the Schmodown group. You know, at the end of the day, people are just talking. And I just don't like betting against the Patriots. At the end of the day, they've won so many times. And I'm starting to think, you know, eventually they have to lose. But I'm just convinced that they can pick up another win against Above the Line. I feel like JT will do what he does, where he gets really good for those team title matches and then just blows it in the singles again. But I could see Above the Line winning. I'm taking the Patriots.
Yeah. Paul.
I mean, yeah, I don't understand the format argument really. All due respect, Haven, because Above the Line outscored them in round 3, which is the betting round, which is unique to the title format, and they dominated the speed round in the title match against the Patriots.
Sam always does.
So I don't think that those are even in question, really. I think it's really just depending on the final round. I have Above the Line by a pretty good margin. I've talked to Michael Campbell about this, and we both agree that when the Patriots lose, I don't think it's going to be like a very close loss. I think like everything is going to go wrong. Like the Patriots are going to lose by like a pretty big margin when they do lose. So I personally don't. I see Above the Line winning maybe without even having to answer their 5-pointer. Sam and Drew are clearly like just like a team that's so in sync, and that I think on an individual level are just better than both of the Patriots. And I think that if you watch that first match, they like thoroughly outplayed the Patriots, and they had the lead in almost every single round. They dominated round 1. The Pats did go 12 for 12 in round 2, which is really impressive, obviously. But I think like speed round they dominated, and like the momentum was clearly in Above the Line's favor. Literally, they missed 2 questions from the same movie that would have added up to like 7 points. So if you look at the way that the match shook out, like they lost out on those 7 points, and they still only lost by one in like the end of the game. So I think Above the Line by like a pretty decent margin. Yeah, the Patriots have to lose eventually, and I think this is the time.
I'm so gosh darn torn. Man, I'm torn. Because like Pride with his Patriots, Pride with his system Above the Line. I am going to go Above the Line.
So I'm alone.
By like 4 points.
It is interesting how Above the Line are such like thorough favorites on all the pages. That's crazy.
It's so gosh darn close though, because it really depends on like round 2, like what categories are on the wheel, and as having like a poker kind of background, I like how I kind of tackle trivia matches and the wheel thing. I look at percentages and saying if they spin a certain category, it's like, all right, what percentages do I have of spinning a shit category? Do I spin again on this? Do I spin again on this one here, or do I take it? That kind of deal. It comes out around 2, and I think it comes out around 5.
Yep.
I think we talked previously how Patriots get to kind of easier questions.
Very easy for around 5 questions.
Just based on luck. Yeah. A question from Michael. Honest question: is the team division kind of screwed if the Pats win again? I mean, I think they're okay for now because they're trying to line up the Shire Wolves. I think that'd be kind of the next person in line.
But if they lose too,
but it could be Action.
That's a disaster. That's a disaster because Action against the Patriots
Apparently,
would not be
Guy's been
pretty.
studying like crazy.
Yeah.
So
no, I don't think the team division is screwed because you have people like you could easily see a MODOK Patriots too. You could see critically acclaimed versus Patriots, Direwolves,
action.
Yeah,
Superhero News could probably give them the good fight as well.
Really?
depends
and in a title
on what they do.
match. They got
I mean,
destroyed.
it's early as well too.
Yeah, for the Superhero News anyway. So
you know what? Like the next contender for the title could even be a team that isn't even formed. Like you look at like Sam Levine or McQueenie, wasn't formed till the Showdown, and now they're the rave of the team division. That's what
a return of a certain individual, if they were to play teams, I think could shake up the team division quite a bit.
Oh yeah,
Merle and Lon.
I think the theory that everybody's trying to go after is Merle and Riley, team champs. Bringing that.
Oh my god, that would be destructive.
I mean, if you've seen Riley though at the last free for all, I'd be a little worried about Rust.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I'm sure if he was teaming up with Dan Merle, he would probably brush up. You know, he'd probably.
I guess, but I don't know how well he complements Merle as a player. I think that someone like Ethan would complement Merle a lot better, and someone like Lon would also complement
Yeah,
Merle.
I do see Lon Merle as a real possibility.
I don't think so though, because of Lon's character. I think that's what the biggest hang up is. I don't see him being in a team as the professor. I think that makes for a really awkward situation with him and teams. So I think that Dan and Riley would be more likely, though I'm not sure I would necessarily want them to be a team. This is kind of off the wall, but I think that just from a gameplay perspective, I think that Brienne would be a very interesting pair up for Dan, because I think that she fills some of his very rare weaknesses. Although, I mean, like from a story perspective, it's hard to match up people who their characters make sense and gameplay-wise, like they align well. So it's kind of tough in that regard.
Yeah.
I mean,
McQueenie and Levine's characters didn't really match.
But they didn't really have specific characters that like didn't match, is what I'm saying. Like I think Lon specifically bad match for team.
I get it.
I don't know, Brooklyn. How do you feel about that?
I'm really sorry. I kind of said that there.
No, just like how like characters can affect like the team alignments. Like Lon specifically, like would be weird in a team. I feel like. Do you agree or
Characters definitely influence who they go for. I feel like for Lon, like the first pick is Cody Hall. The way
that team is just not like a contender. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, like, but coming from a wrestling background, you need like the mid card teams similar to like what the Wildberries and the Kingsmen are doing.
The Kingsmen are not a mid card team. That is a bottom card team. At least in my opinion.
They're jobbers.
No, that's box office breakdown. That is breakdown.
I think a collective match could result in like 10 total first round points.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I don't think we'll ever see Bob back again, though.
I mean, I think if it's between Kingsman and Box Office Breakdown for bottom of the barrel, I think Kingsman will probably be lower down because on Box Office Breakdown, Frank at least actually.
Yeah, Frank's good. Like Frank's actually good. Like
Frank's really good. Yeah.
Players are like.
And I mean, I have listened to Amy talk about movies a lot as well, and she does know her stuff, but it just didn't come out that match. But she is. I mean, like, well, yeah, the match made her seem more terrible than what she may be, but I mean, it was their first time, and they probably had the whole legacy to live up to as well that they were worried about as well. So,
yeah.
But sort of going back to Michael's question, though, I think that there is a dearth of like upper level teams because I think a lot of the teams that were in that echelon have been absolutely free falling, like MODOK, Trek, like top 10 is like struggling to stay like above. Like it's just tough because I think a lot of the teams that could be good are just not performing in matches that matter. So I think that critically acclaimed is one to definitely look out for. But I think that if above the line loses to the page, I think either way it's kind of awkward because if above the line loses, like that puts above the line in a really awkward position because I think they're like very clearly better than almost every other team. And like who would they really even play at that point? Like they've beaten who they have to beat. I guess they might like play top 10 or something like that. But I think that like the top teams, they're sort of starting to fall, and there's not a lot of teams to fill in that gap. Shira was potentially, but I'm really personally worried about Rachel in a live environment, just because I think like the big matches she's kind of struggled a little bit.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, and also not to mention that top 10 can't face for the titles while
No.
Patriots are champions either. So
Yeah.
it's one team that's going to be floating around there, but you can't do anything with the title
Exactly.
pitches.
David, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say the Dan Murrow thing. I don't see him playing in the tag team division. He doesn't really have a lot of time. So if he does come back, I just see him more of a singles guy, focused to maybe win the title back. If he does come back for as many matches as he can play, but I don't see him in the tag team. His demeanor.
I'm just dreaming, honestly. He's played in 3 tag team matches before, so I'm honestly wishful thinking.
Two now.
No, two and a half. One is
One no longer exists.
Yeah.
Anyways, Mike was saying in the chat, it's why players like Irwin, Bernardin have so many possibilities. They have no distinct
characters, exactly.
But even when they have no character, like you look at somebody like Drew McWeeny, same kind of thing. Tank but has no character. You add in a mouthpiece, and I think that's why like Irwin would be a great fit for somebody like who's a mouthpiece that needs a teammate.
I don't know. As far as that's actually good, that's kind of a tough one. I mean,
needs a mouthpiece, man. I mean, mouthpiece that needs a teammate, Mance.
But
because I don't see him in. Is he really though? Is that going to stay around?
At this point, it's just tough. I'm still waiting. Alonso is supposed to team up with someone 5 months ago, and we still haven't gotten any news or any information whatsoever on that front. So I'm just waiting for him to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a case of scheduling.
Definitely scheduling, but I'm just saying, I'm just waiting for Alonso to be in the team.
I know one team they'll probably give the Patriots monthly money, but it's not going to be possible at all. Sean Sandberg and Grant Gregory.
Oh, yeah.
I think I know a team who would have something to say about that, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that would have something to say about that.
I actually had a question for you guys, just as a hypothetical. Sorry about that, Haven. But if you could match up one of the players from Jack of All Trivia with one Schmodown player to create the ultimate tag team in movies, who would you guys match up?
I would match up Hayden Pendergast and Andrew Guy.
Oh,
nice.
That is a team indeed. Hide your wives. Hide your kids. Hide your wives.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here's the thing. Let's turn that into a little bit of a game. Pair up somebody. Pair up somebody on the panel with somebody from the Schmodown.
Oyama with Irwin.
Is that a race thing or what is
the Schmodown would explode? No, you guys would destroy everyone.
I'm just kidding.
I think for mouthpiece wise, Paul will be a bit good fit for Irvin.
I think Malcolm will be great with McQueenie. I can see them both. They're both, they both got the beards. I can see them both wearing suits to the Schmodown.
Malcolm could be the Chris Alexakos of Above the Line. He has the beard. He matches with them. Comes out as a security. I could definitely see that.
And Matthew, I don't know. Matthew's still young in the league, so I don't know who would be a good fit. Maybe him and Cody. They're both young guys, but I don't know until Matthew gets.
I'm gonna team in with someone old to create a very funny scenario. So a Scott Mance.
Me and Mance.
That would
be Mance, baby.
No. Matthew with Michael Burnett. That would be great.
Yes.
What in the chat? Michael says Luca Fallon and John Roca. That would be a destructive team.
I would actually say Luke. I would say Luca and Ben Bateman. I would put that before.
Really?
Luca and Merle.
I was actually going to say Luca and Merle.
Yeah. Well, everyone.
Let's pick the two best players in both.
Well, actually, Gene Kemp and Dan Merle.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, nice.
Directors, release dates, yeah. It checks out.
I can't think of any Canadians that are in the Schmodown at the moment to team Brooklyn up with.
Ashley Robinson and John Campia are the only two Canadians.
Mary Jetikin once competed. Let's not forget.
Clark Wolf is not Canadian, right? I don't think
he's from Atlanta. He's from Atlanta.
Okay.
That's the opposite of Canadian.
Not she was for some reason.
No.
I can see Brooklyn since he's a face. I can see Brooklyn and Sam Levine. That could be a nice team. Yeah.
Brooklyn would just have to grow his beard and pretend like he's Drew McWeeny. That's all he'd have to do.
No, I could not grow.
He's got the size.
You could literally be like, "Here's $1,000. Grow a beard." Could not grow a beard. It looks like it looks like I'm going through puberty. For November, I try to grow a mustache, and about 2 weeks in, Stu is always like, "Shave that goddamn fucking mustache."
So kind of like when John Kempier tried doing something for Movember
Oh
1 year.
man, that's rough.
Oh, Ben Bateman.
Rough.
I hated his beard.
One thing I was gonna say about the Schmoedown is about like mixing people with teams. We don't know because some people seems like a couple of these players are on the verge of turning heel. Like Inman's last match, like that dude looked like he was ready to turn heel.
He's just in his I'm the shit mode. I think like he doesn't really care what anyone else says.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's heel or face or if he's just like.
Well, he kind of proved it in that match too.
Well, he's a little bitchy in that match, and if he would have lost that belt, I think he would have turned full heel, man. That dude would have went ballistic, So there's a lot of guys that are on the verge, of heel turn in the league, which would be nice because all we got is we got
a lot of faces. We have
Lions
a lot of faces.
Right the Lions Den and Team Action are pretty much the top heels, but we need more single heels.
Really, the only
we need some more single heel competitors.
Yeah. And I mean, backing off that comment, and the one we made about Brienne earlier. I don't know if she's heel. That hasn't really confirmed of what side she's actually going with. Because the way I see it is like if Stacey Howard's going to stay heel, then Brienne should stay face, and then those two could have a match at some
I just think Brienne is just clearly too nice, and the heel thing just doesn't really work. You can see it. Like
I agree.
You can see her like break character a lot of times when she's like doing her heel stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know if that necessarily fits her.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Janine in more matches.
Yeah, Janine and Stacey are good heels. They just don't play enough.
Are Janine and Emma still playing?
They have the Patreon match for May.
I'm not sure how.
Can we just talk about the fact that one of them is going to be 2-0, and again, Scarpino is 0-3. That is crazy. Yeah, just crazy.
And it's going to be Brooklyn's most anticipated match, I'm guessing, because it's got Emma Fyfe in it.
I know. I fucking know.
Oh man, don't you love Emma Fyfe, Brooklyn? She's your favorite competitor. You wear the t-shirt.
Stop, guys. Stop.
Okay, honestly, in the heel thing, Emma Fyfe would be the best heel. And you know what she has to do? Nothing. Be the exact same thing. Because she's
dirty.
No, but actually, though, if people just reacted differently to the stuff that she says, that would be hilarious. Like, she would be like
what the New Day.
Yeah, she's a face, but she does bitchy things, similar to how John Cena was a face.
I think she's just passive aggressive. She's just very passive aggressive. I think that's bitchy thing.
I'm gonna stop. Okay, first of all, in the chat, how dare you? Emma is not the ghost. Emma
was on the GOAT team, though. She was on the GOAT team. Bring back the Night Sisters.
Hey, imagine if Emma was the one that brung Dan Murrow back into the league.
Her and Dan as a tag team. I'm sorry, I actually said that. Delete that footage.
Okay, Paul, I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to take back that second. To take back that statement.
Trust me. I literally admin the Dan Facebook fan page. I do not want Dan Murrow to be with any competitor that's not an elite level player. Believe me.
Well, she can manage. She can manage him. Like she's doing.
No, Dan does not need to be managed by anyone. He can speak for himself.
Yeah, that's true.
What about
I think Emma's just cringeworthy.
Last time Dan was managed, he was mismanaged by some group of hooligans. So let's not talk about that.
Yes.
What was that, Malcolm?
What about if what would Paul's reaction be if Dan and Andrew Guy teamed up?
That's a cold day.
Yes, that would be awesome. I would love that. I think that would be grete. That'd be a great swerve.
That would not be great. Absolutely awful. That'd be a to quote another league. That would be a Team Alpha's scenario. Is all that I'll say.
I'll be like a Thor and Hulk.
The guy and the goat.
Sure. Oh god, don't even talk about the t-shirts. Holy shit.
I love those t-shirts.
I definitely don't. That's
new guy order.
New guy order. The guy that beat the goat.
Okay,
the guy who's literally never won a singles match and got on the first round of the free for all. Sure. Continue.
All right, so we are coming up to just under half an hour. So we're going to talk in depth about Sam Levine, Clark Wolf, the second half of titles week. But yeah, so we'll go to reverse order this time. Paul, Clark Wolf, Sam Levine. Who you got and why?
I mean, it's Sam. I think pretty decisively. I just think that Clark just has a couple of holes in her game that I think like she's definitely a really good competitor, but I think that there's just some things that she's just gonna like slip her mind on. And the speed round, Sam is just too good. I think she really struggled in the speed round against the Patriots. I don't think she even got a point. So I'm definitely gonna go Sam, and I think he just has too many strengths, not really any weaknesses. But yeah, Sam by a pretty decent margin. I don't even know if he'll have to answer his 5-point.
Yeah. Matthew.
Sam by TKO.
Sam by TKO.
Yeah, I take Sam by TKO. Yeah. I think that he will destroy her in the speed round. I think he'll go 5 for 5, and that'll be the story again.
Malcolm, who you got?
Yeah, this is a tough one for me because they're both really good. I'd probably give it a go. Clark by 1 point.
Really? Even based on her match against Mike, she was kind of shaky, I feel like, in that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those ones like you don't know what questions are coming up at all, so you can't. It's really hard to prepare for what might come up and what can't. So.
I'm glad you didn't cite their first match because that was like one of the flukiest matches in Schmodown history. Like the questions, like her question, what country does Cinema Paradiso take place in? Should never be asked in a match ever. So I think that match was crazy fluky, and I think that this match will the regression to the mean will be on display here.
Yeah. Hey, Clark versus Sam.
Sam is just. I mean, he's in his zone right now, man. That dude's just hitting full throttle, man. And I think he's gonna TKO Clark Wolf. She's okay as a competitor. She's had some,
she's good okay.
Yeah, she's good. I mean, she's great, but I don't know if she's gonna win the title anytime soon.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna go with Sam as well. For the reasons, and I mentioned these somewhere. I think it was on the Rewind, maybe it was on the Reactor Summit. But when Clark gets flustered, she gets flustered. Emotions can kind of overtake her, whereas Sam doesn't really have that. He'll have his 2-second outbursts, like if the question's ridiculous, like when they asked the Blade Runner 2049 question versus.
Well, okay, that was like the movie had been out for like way longer than he said. So that was a little, I don't know. The question, I don't think was totally bogus. It'd been out for like 2.5 months.
Yeah. And like Clark Wolf was coming in here with a lot of emotion. Like she's in dire need of that belt. But when she gets flustered, like it just definitely. I've yet to see her in a match where she kind of comes back into this. And yay, Michael, we actually agree on something. If we can just change that, in my opinion, I understand.
He's not serious, by the way.
I believe Emma is a great person outside of the Schmodown, and I'm sure she's great on Movie Talk and
she's really on Movie Talk. She's mostly on Hyper RPG. Yeah.
Hyper RPG, yeah. She's great. My big gripe with her was that she's overused, and I feel like she hasn't been on in the last little bit, and it's a nice break. That is the understanding.
Prepare for that to change soon.
It's like how Cena isn't a bad wrestler. People were just sick of seeing him win.
It's like Roman Reigns. Like he's a great wrestler. He just gets booked awfully.
Oh no, he's not a great wrestler, but okay.
I think
he's great in ring. He's fantastic in ring.
I definitely agree. I think he's an awesome wrestler. Who he's put up against, give him somebody other than Brock Lesnar or Braun Strowman or somebody else about that.
Hey, don't talk trash about Braun.
I do wonder if Sam wins if he retains his singles belt and they win the team belt, when does the conversation with him being up with Dan as the greatest player of all time, when does that take place, you guys think?
That's gotta be
if he wins both, I think that the conversation should be had. I still would edge Dan by a small margin, but I think if he retains the belt, if he has another defense after that, I think he would.
Yeah.
How many title defenses does Dan have? GTE, Mark Riley, John Roca.
Wait, Clark. No, he defended against Clark. He defended it against
Mark. No.
He held the belt for at least a year.
What? He had two defenses. He had two defenses.
Well, he had that
Ellis
back.
Ellis and Clark, and then.
Well, Dan faced Sam right after he faced one other person. With, Sam
Levine.
That's two.
One triple threat. Yeah, one triple threat, and then he defended immediately against
Levine. Cashing. Yep.
Yeah. That's it, I think. Yeah. There's no questions. Chris Woodburn joining us in the chat. He is saying Clark will win the belt and Above the Line will win the belt. I feel really good that Clark will display her true dominance.
Dominance is a strong word.
I would agree. Above the Line has to
give her all hard questions.
Yeah. In terms of Sam being considered a GOAT, Woodburn is saying that Above the Line has to win the belts and defend at least once for Sam to be considered the GOAT.
Well, I mean, in team success, Sam is still just like clearly above Dan. I think that's just like, when does the singles and teams, like, how does that work?
That's true.
I mean, like, I would even consider debate for like who's here. So here before we sign off, here's a question: who's greater, Dan Murrell or the Patriots?
The Patriots.
The Patriots.
Yeah.
As much as I hate to say it.
The Patriots. They've had way more.
I mean,
more matches.
nine
They're
wins
the greatest.
is crazy. 5 defenses.
How many knockouts do they have?
None. Two.
Yeah.
Both
I
top
think
10.
two.
Both were top 10.
Yeah, because the other matches were just,
the last two top 10 matches. Everything else has like been close, I think.
Yeah.
Or was Wolves of Steel a TKO, or did they have to just answer the 2?
I don't think it was a TKO. I think Patriots had to answer something in that last round.
Yeah, I think
feel
that.
Loki might have been a TKO though.
It might have. I'm not sure. That was so long ago.
Yeah. Woodburn does have a question for us. He asked us, when did you all start watching Collider? So Malcolm, I'll go to you first.
I actually can't remember when I started watching Collider. I think I started watching it when it was AMC Movie Talk, and then when everything moved over to Colliders, I just continued watching. I don't watch it as much now, though, but I think it's more of a case of on Movie Talk, some of the news that they bring up don't really interest me. So there's been a lot of that lately.
Yeah,
I looked it up. They had answered their 2 against Wolves of Steel, so that was not a KO.
Yep.
Yeah. Haven, when did you start watching Collider?
Once I found, like I said earlier, I think I answered this earlier when we first started. I was watching Jeremy Johns and Chris Stuckman first. I was watching those guys' movie reviews. Then I found out about the Schmoes movie reviews, and then once those guys joined Collider, that's when I started watching Collider. But I'm in the same camp with Malcolm. I missed the format of last year before they went to this new studio. I thought it was, they answered more questions in the old format. This new format where they just have like 4 topics and talk for a long time, just not really thrilling.
Yeah. Matthew, when did you start watching Collider?
The first free-for-all came up in my recommended on YouTube, and then I started watching a lot of movie talk. So I'm kind of like a late adopter, but that's how I ended up watching Collider. But I was a Jeremy Johns fan for years. That was always who I went to. And then, I saw the free-for-all, but then I was like, saw on the recommended of that, I was like, oh, Jeremy Johns plays in this league. And I was like, oh, Jeremy Johns has appeared on this Collider thing. And so then I just kind of ended up watching a lot of Collider and getting obsessed with the Schmodown.
Awesome.
Paul.
So I've been watching the Schmoes since about 2010, actually. Like the Schmoes live show and their YouTube stuff. I used to really only watch Schmoes, and I don't know if you guys know who Pretty Much It is, but I used to watch those like my main 2 movie sources.
I watched Pretty Much It.
I've watched AMC Movie Talk for like a pretty long time. Like once they introduced, I think Amy Rose and Schnepp around then is when I started watching that. I haven't really watched Collider's non-Schmodown content for about a year now. I just don't think that I already know like movie news, like I already follow it, and I think like I just go to mostly podcasts and other sources for like my movie related entertainment. And then the panelists, like it just doesn't really do it for me. Like the type of conversations that they have specifically just don't really appeal to me anymore. So I don't really watch Collider content anymore. Ever since the Schmoes show went away, I haven't really been watching a ton of that. So yeah.
I think I started watching. I started watching Movie Talk pre Sue, so that would have been before 2000. I know, like literally when I tried to figure out when things happened, it's pre or post when I started dating Sue, and that was we just celebrated 4 years of dating, May 10th. So just a couple days ago.
3 days ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Anniversary in the States.
Like 80 dating anniversary. Our 2 year wedding anniversary will be October 15th.
Nice.
But yeah, I've been watching AMC longer than I'm dating Sue, so I think it was around 2013. But I was back in the days when it was like John Campia, Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Roth was on at one point.
Gray Drake was a regular guest for a while. And then when the Schmoes, even before that, I was a big Jeremy Johns person. And then when the Schmoes came on, I was like, oh, I recognize them. I haven't watched any of their stuff. And then
the live show is absolutely phenomenal. The Schmoes live show is so good.
Yeah. It's so unscripted. Those guys are bullshit, and they have a big cast, so it's always cool just to hear people just going back and forth.
I mean, I think they have plans for the live show coming back.
It's just going to be different, I feel like under the Collider umbrella and stuff.
It might be more scripted. I think it's going to be more scripted, like the Collider now, because the Schmoes Bros was fun when it was just freestyle status. Everybody just. Oh, I was going to ask a question if I may. Jeremy John sometimes has his buddy that does trailer reactions also. The young kid, the guy that goes tanning, he used to be really buff, but I think he got skinnier.
I forget his name. Stuckman's friend?
Yeah, Stuckman's friend.
Yeah, Stuckman. Flick Pick. You think that he would be good in the Schmodown in a singles match?
I don't think so. I think his taste is very selective. I think I would like to see Stuckman back personally. I don't know how good he would be necessarily. I know he did beat Snyder, but that was with a way different format. Yeah. So I think that Stuckman would be interesting. It's weird that he hasn't been on at all since he's been back in LA and stuff.
It's distance, I think, and I think it depends on how long he's going to be in LA for. I think it's probably that as well. So I think Christian said that if he wants back, he's going to have a match if he wants back. So
I just don't know if he does want back. It doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's super about it necessarily.
Yeah.
Ronnie Somerville could come right back and get a match. I'm sure Chris Stuckman can.
Yeah.
Is there anyone? Sorry, are we gonna wrap it up, Brooklyn? Or?
No. We're gonna go on. We're gonna because the guest that I had lined up, he's popping on here momentarily.
Okay. I have a question if you guys want.
In terms of the flip pick thing, I look at that similar to Black-haired Gamer, I think, or whatever his name is.
Andre.
Yeah, Andre. They've tried to get him on for a while, but he has no interest. So maybe it's just something that he doesn't want to go on. But Paul, I definitely agree. I would love to see Stuckman back on, just because of his taste is something that I kind of enjoy. Where he has
especially with anything in the 2010s or 2000s, I think he would be really, really, really good at. But at, the older stuff is where it gets kind of unclear what he does and doesn't know.
I would also love to see. Another question that Woodburn has. We'll do Woodburn's question, then we'll get to yours, Paul. Favorite team showdown matches, titles or non-titles. My favorite non-title one is definitely Above the Line versus Action. I watched that at work and I was pacing the entire time.
Oh, that's kind of a title. It was title format.
Yeah, and we got a guest. We got the great one, Chris Clark, joining us today. How we doing, man?
Oh, hey, Brooklyn. Hi, guys. How y'all doing?
Hello.
It's good.
Sorry, it was busy Mother's Day. How you guys doing, y'all?
We're doing good. We're just sitting back here talking about Schmodown stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right now we're talking about our favorite team matches. Question submitted by Michael Campbell. I was talking about Above the Line versus Action for the Ultimate Showdown final. I was watching that at work, and I was like pacing the entire time because I had Above the Line in my fantasy league, and just like every question was a kind of a jumper for me. But yeah, we'll run a line. Paul, what was your favorite team match?
This is tough because my actual favorite team match is, I guess, technically not a match anymore. The match that shall not be named, I guess, that involves Dan Murrell. But as far as other team matches,
Dan Murrell and Steven Richards.
I love Top 10 versus Rotten Tomatoes. When Top 10 had like the Army gear outfit on, back in like the old studio, that was one of my favorite matches. Yeah, a lot of stuff with Above the Line. I feel like there's like just too many matches like to go through, especially like when you think of all the title matches. Above the Line Patriots is obviously like an incredible match. But yeah, as far as teams, those are the ones that immediately come to mind.
Sure. Matthew, favorite team match.
Hands down. And I'm going to get called crazy for this because it wasn't necessarily the most competitive match, but I think the shit talk was the most fun when it was Action versus Trek. I have rewatched that match countless times. That's my favorite tag match. It was during the Ultimate Schmodown last year. I think it's really entertaining. I love Action. I love Trek. I think it was a great match.
Yeah. Malcolm.
My favorite team match is the one that's probably caused Chris Clark the most amount of
Don't
pain.
you dare, Malcolm.
Oh,
I was gonna set that up for one. I was gonna ask Chris. I'm like, so Chris, yours is obviously like with the Party versus Critical Acclaim race.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people know the one I'm about to mention, and I'm not going to submit name by name.
Yeah, lucky bastard.
Haven, your favorite team match?
There've been so many. I think when top 10, I think when top 10 played I think the Patriots when they lost the belts.
Like when initially
that's the first spectacular.
Yeah, when they first lost the belts to them, I think. I really like that match a lot. First time that Clark Wolf teamed up with Mark Riley. I like that match too, but there's been so many freaking team matches. It's hard to keep track of them.
One of the funniest easily is ETC versus Profiles when Scott Mance like miscalculated his math and therefore lost the game, even though they got the question right. That is one of the funniest moments of Scott Mance. You can see on his face, you can see him realize that he lost the match by miscounting, and it's so funny.
Yeah,
it's a good pull.
Chris, your favorite team match?
Well, it's not what you guys were saying. It's not anything to do with look. Team matches in particular are really, really fun just because the people in the actual team match, you can bring up people that aren't necessarily good in singles and have good performances from them, and it's super entertaining, and that's why I prefer the team format to the singles format, bada bing, bada boom. But I feel like the best team match for me, and the one that I felt like was really the strongest, was I would say I love Critically Acclaimed, but they haven't been in the best matches, so to speak, compared to other things. And objectively, I think Above the Line's debut match and Above the Line versus Wolves of Steel, Above the Line versus Wolves of Steel was fantastic in the Ultimate Schmodown. But I put a gun to my head. It's going to be Above the Line versus Patriots at Spectacular 2. That one, they almost got him, and objectively, that's the best. My favorite is Top 10 versus Blofeld's Cat. That one from the Ultimate Showdown was great too, and the back and forth between Burnett and Roca was fantastic. So there's a lot there. So I would say Above the Line versus Patriots at Spectacular too.
Patriots Mega Power is obviously very close match, very close match.
Oh, so close.
Yeah, close if you want to dog years. Yeah.
Paul, you had a question. You had a question for us to kind of.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, what people would you like to see compete in the Schmodown that are not currently competitors? And I'm not talking like celebrities. I just mean like just people in the general movie world. Is there anyone that you guys would like to see compete?
I would love. Actually, no. I would love to see Garrick Swermuloid from Earthling Cinema. I would love to see him compete in some way, shape, or form. I think the way they kind of break down movies would do really well, especially with the plot-based questions that a lot of people consider tougher ones.
Mm-hmm.
What I would love, that would be my first kind of instinct. Chris, who would you love to see compete?
Well, the obvious answer is Kevin Smith, but I actually, in the movie, I know I know you guys probably follow like you would say Nostalgia Critic or somebody like Angry Video Game Nerd would be cool, but I'm actually going to say, I don't know if you guys ever heard of him, the Cinema Snob, Brad Jones.
Yes.
He would be phenomenal in this because of his very eclectic taste. And the fact is, Brad is one of my favorite content creators on YouTube. He'd be amazing. The Completionist, Gerard, and his friend Alex, the Beard Bros, they would be amazing. There's a lot of good people out there, and I feel like if they kind of comb like even the Let's Play community of video games, they'll find people that are really good and have good talent. So I would say easily Brad Jones. He's the one I want to see and I would always want to see. So Brad 110%.
Yeah. Haven, who would you love to see hop in?
One of my favorite guys on YouTube that I like when they do videos, but he mostly does horror, will be Found Flicks, the guy that does the Found Flicks show. He breaks down movie endings to horror movies. I think if he knows a lot about other movies, I would like to see him compete. But as a tag team, some of my favorite guys on YouTube, because they're kind of like me, they're just raunchy and no holds barred, will be the Hodge twins. I don't know if they know shit about movies, but if they were in a tag team match, and if the demons,
Put them against the
demons
Wildberries.
Put them in there.
the demon, yes, exactly, or Double Toasted. I think the team.
Double Toasted is amazing.
If they played against them or the Wildberries, I think that match would be bananas. I don't think they will score any points, but I think those guys will be somebody to remember.
Hey, Double Toasted is
in
good. Double Toasted is good.
the team match. Yeah, but the Hodge twins, those guys are just crazy.
Yeah. Malcolm.
I'd probably have to say Ash Crossing in a Star Wars match would be very interesting to see.
That's a good shout.
Matthew.
So if I'm just gonna completely disregard location for a second, I'd love to see YMS Adam from Your Movie Sucks. Although he lives in Canada, he would be great on the Schmodown, I think, because he has such an intense, knowledge of movies. But if I'm picking someone that's in California, who's moving to California, he's currently living in Brooklyn, but he's moving to California. Ralph the Movie Maker, who is another great reviewer who has a very eclectic taste in movies. So he also breaks it down by plot. So I feel like he would know some of those more obscure plot questions, so I think he might be able to hold his own. So yeah, basically just the cast of Sardonicast, which is a podcast.
Oh, nice.
And then Paul, like you put up the question yourself.
There's a bunch. As much as, again, I'd like to say myself, that's not necessarily my first choice. I think that I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Drew McWee's podcast, but I know, and despite living in Philadelphia, I'd love to see Scott Weinberg play this going on.
I love the video.
I don't know if you guys know Nick Scarpino's company and all, but his coworker Greg Miller, I think, would be really good in Inner Geekdom. And then if you guys follow, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Ringer, like podcast network and stuff. That's Bill Simmons, like multimedia online. I think that there's a lot of people in there that would be really good in the Schmodown. Bill Simmons himself, I think, in a celeb match would be really cool. But Sean Fantasy is like someone I really want to see really badly. He's a podcast host that I think would absolutely kill it in the Schmodown person.
Yeah. Speaking of IG, in a world where location does not matter, I would love to see Mr. Sunday Movies. And even like the Weekly Planets, maybe come in on teams.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be great. I'm pretty sure he's been on. Yeah, pretty sure he's been on Movie Fights. But yeah, Woodburn has a question. I think it's kind of interesting. Do you guys let negative reviews for a film you're excited for deter you from seeing it? They don't deter me, but I definitely lower my expectations for sure. If there's a film where I am very anticipated to seeing it and the reviews are mixed, I will often lower my expectations just so I'm not super bummed. We'll start with Malcolm first. Yeah.
I personally try to stay away from reviews for movies that I'm really excited to see, just because I don't want to run the risk of either being disappointed or having to lower my expectations.
Being spoiled. Forbes, thanks.
I don't read the reviews anyways. But, I mean, like, for me, spoilers don't bother me. I'll still go see a movie I'm excited for no matter what. It's just, I've just never wanted to know about movies I'm excited for, because yeah.
Matthew.
Yeah, I try to avoid reviews before I see a movie. I like to go see movies at midnight premieres whenever possible, just so that I can go and I can have that experience. Because I have that experience, I really enjoyed my watching of Suicide Squad. I did not enjoy that movie, but I enjoyed the experience of midnight and everyone was having fun. You know, the crowd was raucous and everybody just enjoyed it. So I don't ever let reviews deter me if I'm excited to see a movie, because I'm excited to see a movie. And I want to see a movie. And sometimes the reviews are completely different from my opinion, and sometimes they're exactly bang on to my opinion. It just depends on the movie. So, that's my opinion.
Yeah. Paul.
I think it depends. If I'm excited for something, the reviews have to be like absolutely disastrous for me to not like see the movie. I think generally if I'm at least excited for it, I'll still watch it. For me, if it's something where I'm on the fence, like for example, like this year, A Wrinkle in Time was something that I wasn't sure if I wanted to see or not. I think that's something where the reviews will sway me a lot more into not going, especially because movies are kind of expensive and take a lot of your time. So I think that it depends on my excitement about the movie beforehand, and also who's reviewing it. Because if it's just a lot of people, then it doesn't really matter to me. But if specific critics that I follow and that whose opinions like I understand don't like it, then I think that will sort of tip me off. Because if you're just listening to random people, you don't know what their tastes are like, and you don't know how like that will change their perception of the movie as opposed to yours. So I think that the only critics you should really listen to necessarily are ones that you're familiar with, because then you'll know how that will affect your own viewing, at least for me.
Yeah. Chris.
Well, I have to say this is that movie criticism is just all subjective. So to me, it's just, if I'm interested in the movie, I would want to go see it. But I do say that there are a few critics that I listen to that if they trash it, you gotta. I'm in the mindset you just gotta listen to what they're saying. I mean, they're doing their job, and it is your dime that's being you're gambling. If you're going to a movie that you hear is bad, it's your own gamble. So I would say it's really just all subjective. Like, it's all circumstantial, because maybe it's a certain movie that I really want to see, but people are saying it's bad, but I still have my mind to see it. I'm going to go see it. But if it's a movie that I just heard about and I heard bad things, I'm probably not going to go see it. It's just that sort of it's by the numbers for me. It's by the book. So any specific circumstance, it could be one thing or the other. But I would say that I hold critics to a high regard, and who I listen to a high regard, so I would listen to them. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Haven.
Now, yeah, because the movie landscape is totally different. You know, there's a lot of reviewers coming out. I used to go to movies every Friday when I was a kid. When I was like Matthew's age, every Friday I would go to movies. Now, yeah, the prices are kind of pick and choosy, but even if it's a blockbuster and people are shitting on it, then I know, okay, that's gonna be trash. But there's movies that I like, some obscure movies that I love that people didn't understand them, so I still went to see them, like The Enemy with Jake Gyllenhaal. I thought that was really good. Royal Tenenbaums, I love that movie. On D with Colin Farrell. Mallrats. I mean, come on, dude. You weren't even live when that movie came out. But
I love that movie, though.
There's so like some of these indie movies where I'm like, oh, if I think the plot's unique, I'm gonna see it no matter what. You know, because like Paul said, every movie you go in, you might find it to be a masterpiece, and everybody else might hate it. Like I like Don Verdean, which is a comedy starring Sam Rockwell, and I don't think anybody's ever seen that movie, but I think that's a gem, because it's a quirky, like, dark comedy. And I don't think anybody else has seen it, but I did, and I enjoyed it. Yeah. So I still, if I like the movie, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a quick question that I have for you guys, and it kind of came up to me in the last minute. Was there a movie that was widely enjoyed by fans that you did not like upon first viewing? I will let everybody else answer first, and then I will give mine.
Do you mean ones that changed after your first viewing, or just like at all you don't like them?
You mean the ones that everybody loved and that you hate?
Ones that you did not enjoy on your first viewing, but got better as they went on.
Oh, wow, that's
But like, but like the answer that I have was like one of the biggest like commercial and critical successes.
Wow, that's
Okay.
You're gonna pick
the part about multiple
first,
viewings changing our opinion is tough. I think that makes this more complicated.
Yeah.
Are you gonna pick who goes first or
Haven? Yeah, sure.
Sometimes one of the movies I think I watched that everybody was so hyped about or praising was probably Passion of the Christ. You know, when I seen it, I was like, eh. But once it came out on DVD, and I was getting in my zone. Once I get in my zone and watch a movie, I see so much different things. Like I'll pause a movie and I'll start crying and I'll be like, oh my God, holy shit. This is it. So Passion of the Christ, after I bought it on DVD, I watched that thing like 60 times. I blaze up and watch that movie and I love it. But when I first seen it at the theaters, I was kind of like, okay, like I've read this in the Bible. It wasn't it. I was like, I don't know what the big deal is, but yeah, to me, that's the one I could think of, Passion of the Christ.
The better, like for me, the better movie about that whole thing, the Gospel of John, narrated by Christopher Plummer. I've watched the movie a couple of times, and I feel like it does a better version, I guess, without going into super gory detail. Chris Clark, thoughts on him? Is there a movie that was bad but then got better upon viewings?
Well, to me, it was actually Dark Knight Rises. Because to me, Dark Knight Rises was a shitty movie when I saw it. So many plot holes. I was confused. A lot of things that I didn't like about Dark Knight Rises. A lot of people actually, at the time, really kind of dug that movie. But over time, along with a lot of other people, we started to see the flaws in that movie, the holes in that movie. And, most people decided to really hate it. But to me, I actually loved it more as I watched it. So I had the opposite effect than most people. I actually think Dark Knight Rises is better than Dark Knight. Dark Knight Knight is a movie that gets worse every time I watch it because of how good the first part of that movie is and how terrible the last half of it is. Because of how uneven and what they do with Two-Face. So that's a different conversation.
The Two-Face stuff definitely the last 20 minutes definitely does not age.
That's a hot take, I know. But to me though, Dark Knight Rises gets better every time I watch it. It's super epic. It won't beat Batman Begins, but it was still, when I saw it, I hated it, but now I love it. So Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah. Paul.
I don't know if I necessarily have an answer as far as something that people like that I sort of like came around to eventually. There's a lot of movies I think that it's hard because like a lot of movies that are more complex, I think if it doesn't click with people, then they're automatically going to assume the movie's bad. And I think if a movie is really ambitious, then it won't be very well liked. So could you come back to me? I want to think about this for a little bit.
Matthew.
See, I was gonna go with a Batman movie, but I kind of feel bad because Chris just said a Batman movie. But I'm gonna say it anyway. Batman Begins. Now mine's a little different because of the fact that I was a kid, when that movie came out. So when I first saw Batman Begins, I was looking for a fun, exciting Batman movie, right?
You were just a little young whenever Batman Begins came out. You were just like, golly gee, I can't wait to see this campy Batman movie. Nope,
exactly.
Not at all.
Little tyke.
I was bored out of my mind. But now that I've kind of grown into someone who appreciates film more and more, I love Batman Begins. I mean, of course, it's this fantastic film that was, unbelievable for the time, the way superhero movies were.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I just thought that movie sucked. I was bored to tears.
It was that movie and the Arkham trilogy which made Scarecrow my favorite Batman villain ever. Just love like the psychological torture that he does and like and the
his Arkham Asylum level gave me nightmares when I was little.
Yeah. Malcolm.
Little. Oh man. So yesterday.
Yeah. Malcolm. Movie that
I mean, for me, the movie that I didn't like on first viewing, but sort of went down to is probably School of Rock. When I first saw the movie, I just wasn't that into it, and I think I was at the time where a lot of Jack Black stuff I just really wasn't interested in. I can't remember what it was about Jack Black that changed over the years. But School of Rock, when I first saw it, was just like, this is boring. It's not all that funny. Then I think it was about the second or third time I watched it. It's like, no, this is actually a decent movie. It's definitely one of those ones I never thought I'd ever buy on DVD, and I have recently bought it. So
yeah. So the movie that I was initially talking about from the beginning, Deadpool. I did not like Deadpool on the first viewing.
Wow.
I thought it was.
I'm the opposite of you, I think.
No, I got better upon more viewings. But when I first saw it, I'm like it's too origin heavy. I thought because I was waiting for them to go back to where he's like breaking the fourth wall, and I thought like I was going into it being like, okay, maybe they're going to like this scene here, but oh yeah, this is a scene here that I filmed for the trailer. We're not actually using that at all. I thought it was going to be a little bit more wisecracking and a little more meta. But yeah, once I saw it again in theaters, knowing that it was an origin movie, and I had such an appreciation for the film, and it's actually one that Sue watches all the time, and she's like, we're going to see Deadpool 2 in theaters, which is huge because she hates the theaters. But Paul,
I do have an answer, and it's a movie from one of my favorite directors of all time, and it's also a Best Picture winner, and that's The Departed. So The Departed, I think, is a movie that was very celebrated when it came out, and it was something that I didn't love, and I still don't think The Departed is necessarily like an immaculately made movie. I think there are a ton of flaws. I don't know if it's as good as Infernal Affairs. I think Infernal Affairs is probably a better movie. But on rewatch, I just find The Departed like so entertaining and so fun to watch. Like all like the funny, quippy lines and like the super memorable dialogue and like the crazy performances with like Mark Wahlberg just absolutely going for it in every single second that he's on the screen. So that's like something that I gained more appreciation for. And like it's definitely not among Scorsese's best, I don't think, but it's definitely like one of my favorites just because I find it like so quotable and rewatchable. And that was definitely helped by a podcast I listened to called The Rewatchables, where they talk about how movies like become rewatchable and like for different reasons. And like that helped me appreciate the movie a lot more. And it became like one of my favorites, honestly, now, just because I find it just endlessly entertaining.
Yep. When you mentioned best picture winners, I was like, I initially went to my most overrated film, which is also a hot take, 12 Years a Slave. I think it's super overrated.
Wow.
Yeah.
Spicy.
It's good, but Wolf of Wall Street should have won by a mile. That's
a whole.
Wolf of Wall Street took a 3-hour film and made it feel like 90 minutes. Like that film flew by. And like to sum it up quickly, Michael Fassbender's performance was meh in 12 Years a Slave. It didn't feel super evil, and it just dragged down every other performance. Where
it's definitely not the best Steve McQueen movie. I'll definitely give you that. It's not even close. But
all right, last question, as we are coming up on the we're coming up on just over the 2-hour mark here. So the question is, in honor of Mother's Day, who is the
what did you say, Brooklyn?
You say the best movie mom? Is that what you
who is the greatest movie mom?
Oh, damn it!
Oh, that's easy. That's
easy. That's easy.
I don't know her name, but the mother from oh, god damn it! Fuck, I just drew a blank. Hold on.
Are we saying the best or our favorite?
The best favorite, whoever.
Okay. There's a ton of them, but I'm gonna probably say for me is Mama from the Goonies, the evil Mama from I forget her name though. She's awesome. And she's in from Throw Mama Off the Train. Yeah.
Are you talking about the actress that plays?
No, what's the character? Is it Mama in the Goonies, the evil woman that has the two boys?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
The one that Anne Ramsey plays, I think.
Anne Ramsey plays her. Yeah, Mama something.
Fratello.
Yeah, Fratelli, something like that. Yeah, she's my favorite Mama in film. If that's what you mean.
Yeah. I'm just looking up a character name here right quick. If anybody else wants to hop in.
I'll go real quick. If that's cool. I'm gonna pick my favorite mother in any movie is gonna be the cool, the hip, Diane Weiss from The Lost Boys. She was just a cool ass mom. She worked for a living, and she let her boys, gave them money to go hang out at the arcades and the comic book stores. A cool ass mom.
Yeah. And Matthew, Paul, Malcolm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give. Oh.
You go, Matthew.
Okay. Give me the mother from the Karate Kid. I love her. She's great. She's great in Cobra Kai, when she just came back. She's funny. She's quirky. I think she's a great mom. Like, she wasn't like a major feature in the movie, but I really enjoyed her. I think she's probably my favorite mom in movies. She's the mom I would be the most okay with having as my mother. So give me the mom from the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a tie for mine. For me, my favorite one is probably going to be Stifler's mum, but the best is probably going to have to be Helen Parr from The Incredibles.
Interesting.
Nice.
Abort.
Wait, why Stifler's mom? Because she's easy?
Well, I mean, it's partly because I've always liked Jennifer Coolidge as an actress, and she's just one of my favourite like supporting roles in the American Pie series.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's a great actress.
I have two. I'm gonna say Carrie's mom from Carrie. Reading the book, that shit doesn't happen without her just evil, like that evil religion kind of thing. And then Amy Poehler from Mean Girls, such an airhead, and like she's there for like 2 minutes, but she's just so fucking hilarious.
I'm surprised nobody said Princess Leia.
Ooh. That's true.
Well, she wasn't a very good mom to Kylo Ren, apparently.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That's a little
I'm
questionable.
surprised no one said Tanya Harding's mom from I, Tonya.
Thanks.
I think for me, I think for best, I think you can make a very good argument that Ellen Ripley is one of the best movie moms of all time. Just as a character. One that recently that I think is something that spoke to me is Laurie Metcalf as Marion McPherson in Lady Bird. I think that's like such a realistic portrayal of a mom and like what moms go through. I think that's just it's like super accurate to like what real like bootstraps like regular ass mom is like when like the scene where like she's washing the dishes and she's like ignoring Lady Bird. That scene like just breaks me every time, and it's just like I don't know. It hit home for me. I think that portrayal specifically.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brooklyn.
No,
Sorry.
go
Go ahead. I was gonna say like the Juno's mom. She was great in that movie, and in I forget the movie's name now too. God damn it, the roller skating movie. Juno was in that also, and the one Drew Barrymore directed it.
What's the name of that movie?
I got it on DVD. It's in the room. I have to go back there and look for it. But her mother in that movie, the Drew. Let me go find it.
Yeah.
So wait, you mean the Ellen Page one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know character name, but Michelle Williams in The Greatest
Are you
Showman.
talking about Whippet? You're talking about Whippet?
Oh yeah, Whippet. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the vein of bad moms, Monique from Precious.
Worst mom is what's her name? Call it Danny DeVito's wife in Matilda. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I don't know if this one counts, but Jennifer Lawrence in Mother.
I couldn't find it.
Mother.
Mother.
Mrs. Potts. Oh my god, we forgot about Mrs. Potts.
I mean, there's a lot of animated ones that you could definitely go to.
Oh yeah.
Mrs. Potts is actually, I think,
Not Bambi's mom, though. Not
Yeah.
I couldn't the DVDs in the other room. So I didn't look it up, but Whip It.
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore directed that movie, and the mother in that, she's a great mother. She works at she works for the post office, hardworking mom, and she's really like a everyday average American mother, just trying to pay bills and stuff. And it was a really good performance.
Yeah.
I mean, Mrs. Robinson, a very questionable mom in The Graduate.
Mrs. Potato Head from Toy Story 3 because of the 3 aliens.
You have saved our lives. We are eternally grateful.
Whoa.
What's the name of the mother from Psycho?
Mrs. Bates.
Bates?
Mrs.
Yeah,
Bates.
Bates. It's Bates,
I
right?
don't think her first
Have a
name's
name,
ever
does she?
revealed.
Mama Bates. There you go, Mama Bates.
Yeah. Psycho
All right.
killer Norman Bates.
Jason
All right.
Voorhees' mum.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the first one, she was a great mom. She did everything to prevent her kids.
Exactly, yeah.
So with that, guys, we're gonna call it a night. I want to thank everybody for hopping in here. Chris Clark joining us at the last minute here, just to kind of to bring the weekend rewind back to where it started. Guys, kind of the thing to shoot the shit, talk about Schmodown movies. Like this started as a last minute kind of thing, and it's grown into a weekly thing. It might be weekly, bi-weekly. I can't guarantee a show next week, as it is up here in Canada. It's called May 2-4 weekend or Victoria Day weekend. Is it Memorial Day weekend for you guys?
Is it? I think
I don't
we
know.
already had Memorial Day weekend. I think. I don't remember holidays.
Oh, wait,
Yeah, me neither.
Memorial Day is 20. It's like it's 2 weeks from now. It's not next week.
Yeah. Next week for us. Yeah, next week for us is May 2-4. But because the Monday is like Victoria Day or something, it's weird. We get stat pay. I get paid time and a half, and it's awesome.
Nice.
But yeah, I want to thank all the cool kids joining us today. So I want to start off with our very special guest, Chris Clark. Chris, where can all the cool kids in the world find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChrisClark8788. Those numbers mean nothing. I'm sorry we're so late for you, Brooklyn. We'll do something else like at another time. I'll be back. So, and then we'll work it out better. But anyway, you can also find me on YouTube at No Man's Land Entertainment, and you can find me on Take Three Productions, where I host the podcast Suddenly Soundtracks, where we go through a soundtrack and judge it based on it, and it's awesome. So make sure you check that out. So thank you, Brooklyn. This is awesome.
Thanks, man.
Nice.
The big booty daddy, the villain, Haven Pendergast. Where can cool kids in the world find you?
Well, they can find me on Facebook at Haven Pendergast. If you want to send me a friend request, and you can find me at Jack of All Trivia on Facebook and on YouTube. That's where we host our matches and we do cool shit like this. Rewind, and that's it.
Yeah, Malcolm, where can cool kids in the world find you at?
You can find me tomorrow kicking Matthew's ass in Jukebox Trivia.
Wow.
I didn't know you were going to sleep through our match, Malcolm.
The trash talk has begun.
I would not. Oh.
You can also find me on Take Three Productions and on Letterboxd, Twitter, Stardust at Melkor.
Yeah. Mr. Rosa, where can the Jack and the Jills of the world find you at?
Well, I guess tomorrow you can find me making a guest appearance in Malcolm's Dreams. You'll see me tomorrow night in a jukebox match. You can find me on YouTube at On the Tip of Your Tongue. You can find me on Instagram at Unnaturally Selected. And you can find my albums in stores soon.
Cool. And Paul Oyama, where can the cool kids in the world find you
You
at?
can find me at various social media outlets to search my name. You can catch me in the semifinals of the There Will Be Trivia Team Tournament over at Worldwide Movie Games. That's going to be a very hotly anticipated match. You can find me at Full Metal Trivia. I'm currently the #1 ranked player for Season 2. And you can find me here making my appearances here in various leagues, movies, and I plan on making my jukebox debut sometime soon.
Yeah. And last but not least, I'm the Black Lighter Brook and Vail. You can find me on Instagram at brookieb.10, where I post pictures of food and random shit. I also run the jukebox division here at Talking About Trivia. Check us out tomorrow, where we have a double header. First up, at 4 p.m. Eastern, is going to be Jessica Robin taking on Robert the Howard Parker. Also taking on a mystery opponent. This person does not want to be revealed. They'll be revealing themselves at the show. And then also at 8 p.m. Eastern, we have Malcolm Goldie Lay taking on Matthew Rosa in a great debut match. And yeah, be sure to like, comment, subscribe to this video. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Jack of All Trivia. If you want to be on the show, if you want to be a part of one of our matches, like we do wrestling, movies, TV, inner geekdom, whatever floats your boat, we got it for you. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It was great to be back on the Rewind. Once again, I can't guarantee a show next weekend, but we'll do the best that we can. With my new job now, I'm no longer on Pogey and work 3 days a week. I now have a big boy job where I actually have responsibility and shit. So I want to thank everybody for coming on today. Once again, check us out. Check out all the channels like Take Three, World of Movie Games, Full Metal Trivia, Movie Battleground, all of them. It's the competition that improves the content and makes everything grow. If we're one family pushing the creative edge, the content gets better and we get more views. Cheers, guys, and as always, drive safely.